Not so bad.
Out in the middle ahead of tonight's Vitality T20 Blast game between the Vikings and the Bears. Alongside me is the Yorkshire Vikings skipper Shan Masood. What is the news, Shan?
We've lost the toss and we'll be fielding first.
Would you have done that if you'd won the toss?
I think it's a fresh pitch, so it's not going to change. But for us, we probably wanted to bat as well. But now it's about restricting them to as low total as possible and then hopefully chasing it.
Obviously, the Bears come into this game top of the table. They had a tremendous first half of the T20 Blast campaign, but it's so tight in the top half. How important is this one for the Vikings?
I think this group is always going to be tough, and the Bears have probably been one of the most consistent sides in the country. So it's always good playing against them, and it would be good. It's a test for us today as a squad to get 2 points today.
Finally, what is the team news going into tonight's game?
We have a few changes from the last game at Durham. I come in for Will Luxton, Wharton comes in for Joe Root, and Jaffer's got a broken thumb, so Matt Revis comes in for him.
Go well tonight.
Thank you.
So that's the news from the middle, where the Bears have won the toss and they will bat first. And now the team lineups for tonight's Vitality Blast match, starting with the visitors, the Birmingham Bears. Their starting 11, skipper and wicketkeeper Alex Davies, Ed Barnard, Sam Hain, Chris Benjamin, Dan Mousley, Jacob Bethel, George Garton, Danny Briggs, Zach Fulks, Jake Lintott and Craig Miles. And now, your Yorkshire Vikings starting 11. Top of the order, number 9, Adam Lyth. 29, David Malan. 94, the skipper, Shah Massoud. 18, George Hill. 23, James Wharton. Number 2, the keeper, Donovan Ferreira. Number 44, Jordan Thompson. At 77, Matthew Remus. 47, Don Bess. Connor McCurr. And number 11, Dan Moriarty. Okay, we're now just moments away from the teams coming out. So Headingley, make some noise. Are you ready? I saw fire in your eyes.
We are delighted to welcome our Guard of Honour teams for this fixture from Liversedge Cricket Club. We'll soon be having blast off tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but right now I'd like to welcome the one and only Vinny the Viking.
One, two, three, four, five. Testing stream 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your umpires for this evening's game, Peter Hartley and Surendaran Shamagam. And now, give a huge roar and a big home welcome to your Yorkshire Vikings!
Well, good evening from Headingley. Very warm welcome to the latest, the 9th match as it is for Yorkshire and for Birmingham Bears in the Vitality T20 Blast. We switch back once again from Championship action to this, with Yorkshire having, well, built up some confidence with 2 crushing wins in those 2 most recent Championship matches, and they'd love to get back on the horse in the Blast themselves. They lost the reverse fixture against Birmingham by 4 wickets just a few weeks ago. Birmingham top of the table, top of the North Group table, with 6 wins from their 8 matches so far, 12 points. Yorkshire, of course, 4 wins and 4 defeats, but still with every chance of qualifying for the quarter-finals should they play well enough in the 6 matches that remain. They've lost the last 4 in succession against Birmingham though, so they are tricky opponents. Yorkshire do find it difficult to beat the Bears, and they're not top of the table for nothing. Graham Colley alongside myself, Jonathan Doidge, for ball-by-ball coverage on this one on BBC Radio Leeds, the sport website and app, and of course on the stream as well. You can get in touch on BBC West Yorkshire Sport at gmail.com or at Sporting Lives 1. And I'll say good evening, Graham Colley.
Evening, JD. Interesting evening in store, as you say. Tough test against the North Group's top team. And we're getting to that stage in the season, in the T20 Blast, aren't we, where every game becomes really, really important. 6 games remaining. The Vikings probably needing 3 or 4 wins to get them into that finals day.
Yep, Dan Moriarty's going to open the bowling from the Howard stand end, and Graham will take you through this first over.
Yeah, Moriarty as the Vikings start with spin again, and outside the off stump and bowled. Well, Barnard is bowled, first ball of the game. Ed Barnard is gone. Great line and length from Moriarty, bowling round the wicket with his left arm. Spin, whether that ball turned, it's difficult to say. We're not quite on line here, but in terms of line and length and direction, it was perfect. Barnard there, beaten outside the off stump, hits the top of off, and first ball, and the Bears are reduced to none for 1. What a start!
Yeah, cracking start. I think it's partly batter kind of not quite been ready and into the game, and also just partly a good top of off stump delivery, as you say. It was angled in slightly. There's never loads of turn here at Headingley, is there? But there was an offering of turn. It just held its line more than anything, and has beaten him past the outside edge, I think, and taken that off stump. So great start for the Vikings, who, by the way, line up as follows here: Lyth, Malan, Bess, Conor McCurr back from that injury that kept him out of the Championship game at Chesterfield, and Dan Moriarty, who's taken the wicket.
So Moriarty is back on his mark again then. Fabulous start this for the Vikings as Dan Mosley, the new batsman, left-hander, in at the crease, clipped through mid-wicket comfortably. They take a single from that one, fielded on that Western Terrace boundary there by Jordan Thompson, and the throw comes in and they go through for a single. So Mosley is off the mark, the Warwickshire innings is off the mark, or the Birmingham innings, whichever you prefer. And the man watching from the other end so far is Alex Davies, the Bears captain and wicket keeper, who is down at the striker's end then for the first time, as Moriarty switches back around the wicket to the right-hander, and that's cut outside the off. There's a great diving stop just behind point there. Great piece of work, and they go through for have they gone through for one or two? They've gone through for two, haven't they? So yeah, decent strike by Davies.
Yeah, Conor McCurry it was who got the hand to it, Graham, and he just slowed it up enough, didn't he, for Jordan Thompson to get there. So saved two there. Great effort.
3 for 1 then, as Moriarty comes running in towards us from the Howard stand end. A bit short outside off stump, but a good bit of work out there again by Jordan Thompson. Saves a boundary. That's probably the shorter boundary out towards the Western Terrace here tonight. The rope is in by what, 10-15 yards on the eastern side of the ground. So as we look out from the pavilion end, the Kirkstall Lane end, we're just to the right of square in terms of where the wickets are pitched today. That one's just outside the line of leg stump, and it's fielded by Matthew Revis, who's fielding at 45 degrees on the edge of the circle on the leg side.
That was the 12th wicket of the campaign for Moriarty, so he's done really well, the left-arm spinner.
He has. He's been a real success story. There's an attempted sweep there. There's a stifled appeal from Moriarty. Strikes the batter on the pad. It goes through to Adam Lyth, who fields behind square on the offside. They go through for one, but that is, I guess, what you would put down as a dream start for the Vikings, picking up wicket first ball, and as we said, against the league's top team, really important to get off to a good start, which is just what the Vikings have done there. And after that one over, the Bears are 4 for 1.
Yep, Conor McCurry, pleased to say that he's recovered from, just said he felt a bit of a tightness in his thigh, his quad, before that 4-day match at Chesterfield, and you don't want to be going into a match like that with the potential for going through a proper tear, do you, where you're going to be out for the rest of the match. It hampers you, it hampers your side's chances, so it was a good job really. He fessed up about that, I think, and they were able to make that change and bring in Matthew Revis, but it clearly a fair bit of work being put in on him this week, and he's ready and raring to go here, and bowling to Warwickshire skipper Alex Davies. The short figure of Davies. First ball, clear swing away from the right-hander, who just drops that into the offside, and there is no run. Congratulations, by the way, to Will Luxton, who made 100 and more, not out yesterday for that county select 11 against the West Indian Tourists. What a great experience for him down at Beckenham. Harry Duke as well, who just signed that new 2-year extension to his contract this week. Made 40 odd not out, took a victim as well, I noticed. So well done, the pair of them, representing the White Rose. At that level, here's McCurry. It's wide of off stump and it's hammered away aerially. One bounce and 4 out towards the northeast stand scoreboard. It was too short and too wide and got what it deserved.
Yeah, the Vikings have got a slip in there. They've seen that movement in the air away from the right-hander off the first ball. It's certainly moving in the air. There's some really nice shape on it, but that one was just too short. It sat up really nicely, came onto the bat quickly, middled and absolutely raced away. One bounce for 4 through that extra cover area. So a bit of a gift there for Davies, no question about that.
So what has McCurry got in response? 8 for 1. Davies on 7, and he tries to haul this one away over the leg side. It's not his best, almost aesthetically pleasing stroke, and he hit him on the body somewhere. They've got through for a single. The umpires, by the way, the one who's just signalled the leg by, Surindaran Shanmugam at this Kirkstall Lane end of the ground, and Peter Hartley, who is at square leg. Now Joe Root, of course, now in the competition for Yorkshire. He's preparing for England against the West Indies and the forthcoming Test series. But still, when you consider James Wharton's just got his career best in red ball cricket and has got a white ball ton to his name. George Hill very hungry. Donovan Ferreira yet to see the best of him in this format. They've got a useful side, Yorkshire. Not at this moment in time a table-topping one as the Bears have. Warwickshire is their name up on the scoreboard, but of course they play this competition as the Birmingham Bears. Mosley hammered this ball short of length that was quite tight to off stump from Conor McKerr, straight to point, and that's caused a problem for the fielder. Or Jordan Thompson, I think it could be. Is it Don Bess? My apologies, of course it is. It's point, and he's really felt that. And he's actually running across to swap fielding positions at this moment in time. George Hill making his way across to point, and he's still holding his hand gingerly, Don Bess, so that must have been particularly painful. Good delivery from McKerr because he follows Mosley, who's stepping away to create some room outside off stump, and that bit of swing in towards the left-hander has meant he can only push it away into the offside, where Malan flicks it on to Shan Masood. Adam Lyth coming across for a friendly word of advice to his bowler here. Bears top of the table on 12 points, Lancashire second on 10, Leicestershire, Northampton, Durham all on 9, and Yorkshire just behind them on 8. It's the way the table looks at this moment in time. Wide Yorker, and he's got something on it. Mosley down to third man, where it's fired back in, and they get through 4-1. So 10 off the first 2, 6 off that McKerr over. Lost that wicket, of course, of Ed Barnard, and yeah, I think it's an okay start.
Yep, it's an okay start. It was a good over, wasn't it, in the end from McKerr? It was a good recovery, having conceded that boundary early in the over, and courtesy of some good fielding, in part from his colleagues out there, particularly by Don Bess, who made that great stop. And we saw him earlier just shaking his hand there. Whether he took a blow on the hand or maybe on the wrist, I'm not 100% sure. But he's not going to get too long to recover, because he's been asked to come into the attack from the Howard stand end. Another success story in the Vikings T20 campaign this year, Don Bess, along with Moriarty. The spinners generally have done a really good job. The Vikings have done well at home, haven't they? Won 3 out of the 4 games they've played at home, in contrast to their away form, which is the opposite. As Bess then starts a new over, it's swept from outside off stump, really met well out of the middle of the bat, but finds Jordan Thompson on the fence in front of the western terrace there, and they pick up a single. So field placing absolutely top draw then from the Vikings, as we've got the right and left hand combination out in the middle for the Bears. Davies now back on strike. He's on 7. We've got 2 fielders on the fence on the eastern side of the ground. As Bess comes in, outside leg, it's swept away, it's fairly fine. There's a chase for George Hill. George Hill's done brilliantly there. He's got down with a great slide and a long right arm reach, and just manages to claw the ball in before it hits the rope. So a great bit of work from George Hill.
Yeah, superb piece of fielding. That's another 2 runs saved, just like we saw earlier on from Conor McKerr.
Bess running towards us then from the Howard stand end, a little bit shorter as Davies tries to find some room outside the off stump, but it's mopped up by Jordan Thompson. The Vikings fielding looking really sound at the moment, backing up their bowlers really well, with the Bears on 13 for 1 midway through this 3rd over, as Bess again comes in. Down the pitch comes Davies, it's driven up towards mid-off, it's fielded up there, and there's no run again. So the Vikings have nicely got the brakes on here. Bess has got this miserly line and length that he bowls in this T20 format, really forcing the batter to ask themselves some questions. The batter responds this time, Davies, though, as he lofts that one over the top of extra cover, and that one will race away towards the western terrace for 4. So a little bit inside out, but nonetheless it's effective. With all the field in on that offside, it was always safe, and 4 more to the Bears.
Yep, played it nicely, didn't he? Again, not the most aesthetically pleasing of strokes really, but he did the job.
He certainly did, as Best comes in to complete the over then. Little bit short, little bit outside leg, but nonetheless, Davies tried to pull that one through the leg side, doesn't make a connection, hits him on the pad, and that is the end of the third over then. So with the Bears on 17 for 1, the league leaders rolling into town here tonight, I would have thought that the Vikings will be pretty pleased with their lot so far.
I think you're right. Given the firepower with the bat that the Bears have got, I think if you'd have offered them 17 for 1, the Vikings, before this match started, after 3 overs, they'd have said, yeah, go on, we'll take that, we'll try and work with that. Matthew Revis coming into the attack, number 77 on his back for over number 4 here at the Kirkstall Lane end. John Ver, thanks to John, who scores, of course, for the seconds, and he's always monitoring my progress or otherwise on air, and he's my biggest critic. And clearly, I mentioned Donovan Ferreira not quite got going yet in the competition. Well, he says that evening Ferreira got 114 not out from 51 balls for the second team at Barnsley on Tuesday. I knew he'd got a few, couldn't remember quite the exact amount, but there's the first 6 of the evening there to Matthew Revis's first delivery. Mosley is clearly trying to take him down here and thinks that there's an opportunity to do so, and that Matthew Revis might be vulnerable. Just looking back at the match down at Birmingham, in fact Matthew Revis didn't get on to bowl that night, made 13 with the bat, and Mosley, who's always a dangerous player, made 41 off 29 down at Birmingham in the reverse fixture. He's just posed his intent with that first half dozen. He's pulling this next ball, not so far short of James Wharton, who's on the boundary edge on the east side of the ground. They get just the one. The east side boundary, by the way, is the one that's been pulled in the rope, probably about 20 yards or so from its maximum extent, and it's pretty much all the way back on the west side of the ground. Heard a bit of a negative from one of the photographers tonight, because the photographers always know these things. There were only about 3,000 ticket sales, he said, but there's definitely several more in than that, I would have thought. Plenty on the western terrace side of the ground, and reasonably well populated around. So I'll be surprised if it's only 3. As Revis is in, and an attempt at a scoop by Alex Davies. He scores no runs from that, but unfortunately Matthew Revis has overstepped the mark, so that's going to cost his team 2 runs and now a free hit. And of course, as we know, in this format, execution is everything. One slight mistake like that, you cost 2 runs there, and there could be more to come. We'll see. Hopefully he's got something up his sleeve here, Rev, that can get him out of that potential hole. He's gone wide Yorker, and now that's a wide.
Real test of character for Matthew now, isn't it? And maybe this bit of tension in his body emanates from that first ball of the over, where a brilliant shot for 6 kind of knocks a bowler off their stride in this format of the game, doesn't it? When first ball of your over and your spell, first ball of the night for you as a bowler, goes for 6, pressure's on.
It is, as Revis is here, he's got him, but of course it doesn't count because it's a free hit, and he's clipped it onto, I think it was probably leg stump with an inside edge, but at least it's a dot, and so that's a good response to that free hit, double free hit really, because of the wide second ball. 27 for 1, Davies on 13, Mosley on 10, and this partnership worth all 27 of those Birmingham runs, because of course Ed Barnard was out first ball of the match without scoring. So Revis in again from the Kirkstall Lane end, and this time he's been swung away for 6 over Cow Corner, and that is a big hit by Alex Davies. And Matthew Revis, well, if they were planning to try and take him down here, they're doing a pretty good job so far in this over.
Yeah, it would be. There are times, aren't there, when it would be something else to sit in a dressing room pre-match to listen and understand and try and work out what the tactics are that are likely to be employed by the opposition team, because it's apparent, isn't it, here that there is a premeditated plan to attack Matthew Revis, I think, as soon as he comes into the attack. So not an easy time to bowl for him.
Still got 2 legitimate deliveries left in the over, and this time he's gone down the ground, Alex Davies, and that's 4 more straight. Not quite sure what Matthew Revis was trying to do with the delivery, but he's just been able to hit straight through the line, get the front leg out of the way, hasn't he? So was he trying to bowl that fuller and he's not quite managed to do it? Probably feels like he was, and it's ended up in a slot ball straight down the ground. So this is proving a costly over at the moment. 20 runs from it off 5 deliveries, and yeah, we said after 3 overs I'm sure Yorkshire would have taken 17 for 1. This begins to change the complexion. Final ball of this 4th over, Revis in. He's gone this time for the scoop, and he's going to get 4 more. And Matthew Revis, he just feels in that over like he's looking like a man whose confidence has quickly drained away, doesn't he, after the first ball and then the no ball. And so he's gone for 24 in an over, 41 for 1 after 4, and now you'd say Birmingham would have taken this.
Yeah, credit to the Bears in a way, because it's all right, developing a plan, isn't it, and working out what the strategy is before you go out into the middle is another thing. Being able to execute that plan, and these two have absolutely done that and some so far off that Revis over. That will have dented Matthew's confidence, no question about that. But as you say, Doige, it's put the Bears on the front foot here. 41 for 1 they are now then, after 4 overs. So that's put the Vikings just a little bit more on the back foot, and they've really made the power play overs count there, that is for sure. As McKerr comes in, he swapped ends. Good delivery, bit of a swing and a miss by Mosley this time. Not the most glamorous looking shot, is it? Little bit head up across the line. It was never there really, and the ball going through, and it's taken behind the wicket by Donovan Ferreira. So a dot ball for Yorkshire. That'll be really very well received around the ground, no question about that. As we said before, Doige was saying, decent looking crowd here. Anybody who came to the last home T20 game, the one against Lancashire, would have had a great night, so surely they would have been looking to come back for more. Here's McKerr then, running towards us. That's short outside the leg stump, and that's pulled away by Mosley, and that is 6. And the Vikings at the moment are suffering. Moriarty at fine leg is inside the circle, saving 1. That was outside leg, the delivery. So you've got to say, in terms of the direction of that ball, he's not really bowled to his field, Doige, has he?
No. Yeah, it's not the best execution, is it really? And that's what I was saying earlier on, really. Execution's everything in this format. It's all right having the plans, but then you have to try and have the skill to carry them out.
Things just running away from the Vikings in this stage of the contest then. McKerr's in again. That's driven away through extra cover. It's all along the ground. There's a chase for Masood. It's going to race away, and Mosley picks up another boundary. So really nicely struck. Not a particularly bad ball, but of course there are gaps in the field with the 4 fielders in the circle on the offside, saving a single, and suddenly Mosley races on to 20, and that's the 50 up already.
Yeah, I'm arguing that it was a bad ball because it's just given him a bit of width to free his arms, and there is that massive gap there. So they're so good, aren't they, at this level in terms of placement.
Mosley waits again. That's cut towards point. Good diving stop. Good work behind there by George Hill. Just palms it away. They managed to just ensure that goes through for a single. I think that's James Wharton who picks the ball up and throws it in. So just a single. So almost as good as a dot ball for the Vikings, the way the boundaries have been flowing. 52 for 1, the Bears, from 4.4 overs. So I think it's pretty easy to say who's on top in this one now, as McKerr has bowled 1.4 overs for 16 runs so far, as he waits back on the edge of his mark again. Bowling to Davies, the Bears skipper, of course. McKerr's in, clipped off his legs. They've gone through for 1. And that is all there will be. Good work there out on the fence by Wharton again, who's quick across the ground, James Wharton, isn't he? does well there, picks up and throws, and they go through for a single. So last couple of deliveries, just 2 from them, so that's better for the Vikings. 1 ball remaining in this 5th over, and it's going to be Mosley, who's done some damage in this over the left-hander already. Change to the field, 3rd man comes in, point goes out to a wide-ish 3rd man position on the edge as McKerr comes in again, and he's bowled him. It's played on. Mosley has dragged that one on from outside off stump, a really thick inside edge, well bowled by McKerr. Good response from him in this over. 2 balls that went for a single and then a wicket. That's just what the Vikings needed. Mosley chopping onto his stumps, and the Bears are reduced to 53 for 2. Absolutely critical that the Vikings picked up a wicket there to stop the flow.
Yeah, final ball of the 5th over, and as you say, wickets just do stem the flow. It's missing, isn't it? It's missing by about 2 stumps if he lets that one go. But with stretching, with stepping outside off stump, he's cost himself the wicket. And as far as Yorkshire are concerned, Mosley is a pretty big wicket, but there is no bigger wicket really in the Warwickshire side, the Birmingham side, than Sam Hain, and he's the man who's walked in now. Top draw player, very much easily the highest scorer in the history of T20 cricket for this club, and he played another leading role when the sides met. 53 not out from 40 deliveries down at Birmingham just a couple of weeks ago, so they'd love to see the back of these 2. They've got other players, don't get me wrong, Birmingham, but if they could get rid of the top 4 in the first half of the contest, then that it certainly won't do any harm in the second half as far as the bowling analyses are concerned. But 53 for 2, and that 50 coming up, when was it now? 4.3 overs. We'll see how the comparisons go when Yorkshire get their chance. Dan Moriarty back into the attack at this Kirkstall Lane, and we may get a visit from the President, Jane Powell, to do a few overs with us as the match goes on. Very welcome if she's around. And left arm round the wicket for Moriarty, who's already bowled his previous over, the first of the match at the Howard stand end, and went for just the 4. Took the wicket, of course, first ball of the match of Ed Barnard. And that first delivery of the over was another good one, because Davies could do no more than push it back to the bowler. Still just the 2 men outside the circle for this final over. They're both deep in the leg side, and neither going to come into play here, because that's been slog swept aerially by Alex Davies, and it's 6 more into the Western Terrace.
Yeah, you've got to say that is the shortest boundary in terms of the 2 square boundaries anyway today, and the batters are going to fancy their chances of clearing the fielders on the edge, and that's just what Davies has done there. Really well timed shot.
Yeah, I think they'll all have that range. Here we go again. Yep, 6 more, even further back this time, over the top of mid-wicket. And so Yorkshire going round the park here. This has happened here against Birmingham in the past. I seem to remember them getting up to about 220 one year, and Yorkshire losing that in the end, but having been not so far off for most of the way through, finishing probably the best part of 20 short. 65 for 2. Davies on to 40 now. Hain watches on without scoring at the other end so far. He's got this one away backward of square. Jordan Thompson's on hand to field, and they pick up 1. And well, there's a bit of mayhem out there aside from the 2 wickets that have been taken. 24 off Matthew Revis's over, 12 off Conor McKerr's latest over with a wicket involved in it, and 13 so far off Moriarty's over, and there are still 2 balls remaining. Moriarty is just waiting for Hain to take his guard and go through the usual pre-batting rigmarole, and now he pushes one up towards long off where Matthew Revis is round to do the fielding, and they pick up a single. Well, we've got the former England skip, the Prez, Here she is, Jane Powell alongside her. She just grabbed Graham Colley by the collar and said, out you go, know your place.
No, I didn't.
67 for 2, and Dan Moriarty in again, wide of off stump and chopped into the deck by Davies. It's fielded at point, and there is no run, so 14 off the over, 67 for 2 after 6, and I think at this stage you'd rather be in the Bears position than the Vikings.
Yeah, it started really well, didn't it? Obviously the wicket off the first ball, and thank goodness the Vikings picked up that wicket when he played on as well, because otherwise you'd definitely be in the Bears camp. But the fact you've got 2 wickets makes it okay at this stage, but they have been quite expensive. But we all know that the outfield is like lightning here at Headingley, and also, you know, if in the power play, if you get it past the inner ring, then it's going to be a boundary. So hopefully now that the power play's finished and Don Bess is coming on, there may be a few more chances of wickets as the opposition of the Bears try to go aerial to try and combat the spin of Bess.
Yeah, so long on and long off. Cow corner, deep backward square, and then a central cover sweeper, Jordan Thompson by the looks of it. That's the field setting with the other 4 split evenly inside the circle. First ball of the over to Sam Hain here, who's on 1. He's pushed back up the pitch. Just saying, Hain, one of the best players in the competition, certainly in the North Group year on year. Oh, he's been beaten here by Bess, and that one I think bangs into the foot of Donovan Ferreira with the gloves on.
Yeah, that squirted through, didn't it, from the... it must have been an inside edge or something.
Yeah, he's given it as a run. Yeah, he did. He got an outside edge on it, didn't he?
Yeah.
So Davies back on strike, is on 41, 68 for 2.
Full start.
There comes Bess past Peter Hartley, right arm round the wicket. And just pushed on its way up to long on by Davies. There's 1 run. They've got 50 then off the last 3 overs 4, 5 and 6 combined, having got 17 off the first 3.
Yeah, and bizarrely they fielded well in the circle. It's just that they've gone over the top of the circle, haven't they, and gone past the inside ring as it's played down the wicket there, down to long on for a single from Hain.
Yeah, looks like George Hill is posted down at long on, so 70 for 2. Cut off time for this innings 7:46 at the moment at least. And Bess is in, and it's punched down to long on once again by Davies. So just doing the simple things. They've already got plenty of boundaries on the board. And I mentioned earlier on that I heard Shan Massoud speaking to Richard Graves on the PA before, saying that one of the Yorkshire players had suffered a broken thumb. That is Jaffa Chauhan. That's why he's not playing tonight. Sam Hain has just turned that out into the leg side for Wharton to field. 1 run to complete the over, with 5 runs coming from that, 72 for 2. So thanks to Graham Hardcastle, the Yorkshire website writer, who's just popped in to confirm that it was Jaffa Chauhan. And so that, you know, certainly affects the makeup of the side, Jay, when you think about it now. Just the 2 frontline spinners in Don Bess and Dan Moriarty, and they have been playing 3 throughout this competition, 3 or more.
I guess Lythy could come on with his spin, couldn't he? So they do have that option, but 2 frontline spinners, and then the rest are medium pacers. But then you've got the likes of Thompson, who's about to come on from this end. You know, he's all heart, isn't he? Bowls with real heart.
Yep, absolutely. The spin has been more difficult to play here this season when it's been bowled well than seam has, I would say, in the matches so far. So it's unfortunate that Chauhan's not playing. Of course, no Joe Root either, to, you know, might have bowled 2 or 3 overs just to sort of try and compensate for that. So
from what I don't think it's massively serious. I mean, he has broken his thumb, but I think he's already saying, "Can I play?"
Right.
You know, so I think he'll be back soon.
Jordan Thompson in, there you go, seam again, and it's gone a long way up the western terrace. I think something's ended up near the back row after a couple of fumbles. So not an ideal start to Jordan Thompson's night. 78 for 2.
And you're right, I think, you know, the faster they bowl, or, you know, the more pace they put on it, the easier it is for the batter to just lean into it and help it on its way, especially if it's short of a length or in the slot. You know, you've got to make sure that you're cramping them, you know, the best bowl. I mean, I look at Bumrah and I think, wow, wish I could bowl those in-swinging Yorkers that he can bowl. It seems to be at will, you know, and we don't have many bowlers who can do that.
Here is Thompson again, slower ball, and this one was better executed than that first delivery, and he just managed to touch it round the corner, Hayne, for a single. Yeah, I think that first ball really was a loosener, wasn't it, from Jordan, and it was a slot ball on a roundabout off stump, but they're so adept at swinging him away these days. He made it look easy, didn't he, Sam Hayne?
Yeah, and I think these bats are so powerful these days that, you know, you can clear the rope even if it's a mistimed shot. So I think they're quite willing to take that risk, especially in T20s.
Here's Thompson. Oh, good delivery this time. They're asking for LBW and he gets it, yes. And you have to say it looked plumb, and that opinion was probably shared by umpire Shanmugam. A third wicket falls, big wicket of Alex Davies for 43 off 26, and he's gone the 79 for 3.
And that's that Yorker length, you know. It's so difficult to play, especially if you just move your left shoulder a little tiny bit because you're playing across the line. You can see there his shoulder opened and he looked like he was shaping to hit it back over to the Western Terrace, and it was fairly adjacent on his left toe, I think. That could have been quite painful as well.
Yeah. So, Jacob Bethel coming in number 2 on his back at number 5 in the Birmingham Bears batting order.
And the best way to slow the opposition down is take wickets. You know, it's all very well saying dot balls, but with that one, you not only get a dot ball, you've got a wicket. So that's got rid of the batter who was scoring freely, and you've got a new batter in now. So if you can keep it tight from the start, that should help you just start to claw it back a little bit.
Yeah, Jordan Thompson just having been put under some pressure as the leading wicket taker by Dan Moriarty with that first wicket of the night. He's just moved on again. 14 wickets in the comp so far for him at 18.07. Making things happen again. So 1 for 7 off his first 3 deliveries. Bethel left-handed, so a left-hand right-hand combi now for the Bears. And Jacob Bethel 32 off 15 down at Birmingham, so dangerous player if he's allowed to free his arms. Thompson over the wicket. First ball is turned into the leg side by Bethel, and JT chases it down himself. 1 run.
Yeah, there's nobody in the ring for the left-hander out to the onside there, so Tomo had to do his own fielding there.
It does look like a good deck again. There's been a very little bit of turn, but otherwise, yeah, I think it's a tough night to be a seam bowler. And in comes Thompson over the wicket. Oh, that's a better delivery.
Shan did say at the toss that he doesn't anticipate that the wicket's going to change much between innings. I often think when people go, we'll bat first, you know, 20 overs, it's not going to see a massive change in the wicket, you know.
Yeah. I've not spoken to Richard Robinson, I've got to say, but it doesn't look like it's a used pitch to me from this distance.
No, it looks fairly new, doesn't it? I guess they may have used it way back in April.
Maybe.
Do you remember when it was winter days and we started the cricket season? Yeah.
I remember that very clearly and coldly.
Yes.
Thompson in, and Bethel punches this back down the pitch to him. So after conceding 6 off his first ball, Jordan Thompson with a very good comeback there. 1 for 9 off his first over, 81 for 3.
Yeah, and as you say, great comeback from Thompson there, because, you know, to be hit for 6 your first ball, it shows true character to come back, not only to come back and tighten it up, but to take that wicket as well makes a big difference. So a good over in the end from Thompson. When you first look at it and you think, oh my goodness, what's going to happen in this over? Six runs first ball, you're starting to think of 16, 17 off the over, and there's only 9 off the over and a wicket.
So Don Best, 2 overs for 12 so far, which is perfectly acceptable in the modern world of T20 cricket. 1 a ball, and he's in again for his 3rd over here. And Hayne just pushing it on its way down to long on, 1 run. Decent crowd in. Looks like we've got a bunch of is it school kids away to the left?
Yeah, there's quite a few school kids both in the Western Terrace and over to the left as well, under the members' stand almost.
Here's Bess again, full toss. He's got away with it because Bethel's only going to manage to get 1 from it. Jordan Thompson was very quickly onto that. They have fielded well on the ground, Yorkshire.
You have to quickly look around at the square leg umpire to see if he's signalling a no ball there. But it was below waist height, so he did get away with it.
So Hayne back on strike, 83 for 3. Bess in, and he can only turn this one round the corner for a single. Revis bounces that one back into the gloves of Donovan Ferreira. So 3 wickets to fall, and Ed Barnard bowled Moriarty without scoring. First ball of the match. Dan Mosley bowled by Conor McCurr for 21, and then Alex Davies, the most recent wicket, 43 off 26 for him, LBW to Jordan Thompson, as Bethel pushes 1.
Some good ground fielding there, because it looked like that could possibly have been 2, but by the time it was picked up, it was released straight away, and no chance of a 2.
Bass in again, over the wicket, turned square by Hayne. He's going to pick up 1 out to Matthew Revis. Oh no, it's not the best of throws or collection attempts. And they've got back for 2, and then the throw coming in hits the stumps, and well, a bit of Charlie Caroli going on out there.
That looked quite close actually from this distance, but obviously I wasn't as close as the umpire. But they ran on the misfield, and then the stumps were hit. Yeah, he's in. Good throw though.
So Best to Hayne, who's on 16 all of a sudden, and digs out a full-length delivery, pushes it to George Hill. That long on for 1 to complete Bess's 3rd over with 19 on the board. 88 for 3. I know they had a go at Dan Moriarty with a couple of big 6s in his most recent over, but it sort of feels as though they're going to see off the spin and work with the seam, doesn't it, the batters? And Sam Hayne, above all else, will have all that experience and know what he's doing out there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's, I think you've read that well, because they've got to put all their pace on the ball from the spinners, as well as the ball turning either into or away from them. Whereas the seamers, they've got to be able to bowl that slower ball, and they've got to be able to bowl the Yorker. And if they don't, then they can't give them any width. If you give them width, these guys are more than capable of just swinging their arms and just placing it over the boundary.
So Thompson's first delivery, he's continuing at the Kirkstall lane, and turns square on the leg side by Hayne. Another sloppy effort in the field. Not quite sure what's gone on there, because they've been absolutely red hot in the first 9 overs in the main, but a couple of throws that have been a bit wayward recently. They managed to clean up there without any further runs added. So it's going to be Thompson to Bethel. 89 for 3. Jordan Thompson just wants Shan Masood to move one of his fielders. I think Matthew Revis down there at deep backward square. Thompson over the wicket. Bethel, ooh, good slower ball by Jordan Thompson. That deceived me for a moment.
That seemed to go straight through him, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it was too soon, wasn't he, trying to play it into the leg side. So really good delivery. Dot ball. Adam Lythe offering his to Pennyworth. 89 for 3. Bethel on 3. This partnership for the 4th wicket so far worth 10. And we're approaching the halfway stage. Remember, Birmingham won the toss and decided to bat first. In comes Thompson. That's been pulled away out to Cow Corner. George Hill quickly round there to field. They get 1. enjoy yourself with the cake and festivities down at Chesterfield last weekend?
Do you know, it's been great, hasn't it? The last 2 county championship games, and then it's like, oh, can't we keep playing county championship matches? But no, we've now gone into a few T20s, and it's just like, oh, let's keep that momentum going, because they just played so well down at Chesterfield.
Here's Thompson in, let's hit down the ground, and there's going to be a 6 down to our right. Clears Adam Lyth quite easily. Sam Hain with a bit of brute force to go with the class that he offers every time he walks out to the wicket. 24 to him now, 96 for 3, nearing halfway.
Yeah, and you can see that virtually every batter that comes out can clear the boundary, you know, and yes, they've got good technique, but it's almost like, where do you bowl to them? And that's why you've got to vary it a little bit more.
Here comes Thompson again. Haynes sets himself with a very wide attacking stance, and then just punches this one square on the offside, loses his footing slightly, and he does get back in the end and beats the George Hill throw just. Oof, that was a bit risky, the second run, but he's got home.
Yeah, because he did slip at the bowler's end, and it was like, oh, there's a chance here. But again, he was over the line, you know, you can see it even from that angle, that he was clearly over the line, and that's a little frustrating as the fielders, because you think we've got him here, but then he accelerated well and slid his bat, you know. So any youngsters out there, make sure you slide your bat when you're running in.
Get into the halfway stage then. Final ball of the first half of this Birmingham innings is a good one from Jordan Thompson, because Sam Hain just doubles up with disappointment really as he slapped it straight along the deck to David Malan at extra cover. So the midpoint, and of course they've taken the score off the board as they do at this stage.
98, I believe. So, you know, I guess you're looking probably at 220 if you're the batting team. You're like, well, you know, we've got 10 overs. We should perhaps double what we've got plus a little bit more, you know. And that's where the Vikings will be looking to take wickets, because every time you take a wicket, that'll stop them aiming for their massive total.
So Best from the Howard stand end. First ball is fired in. Bethel almost chops it into the deck, and Masood round to field. They get through for 1. So 5 to Bethel, 26 to Hain, 99 for 3. And Yorkshire, well, they've only got this over plus 2 more of spin in the match, unless they decide to risk Adam Lyth, and Hain down the ground has just slapped that one, well, with disdain almost, ready over long off for 4 more.
I think the thing is, when you're on 98 for just 3 wickets with 10 overs to go, you've still got 7 wickets, so it gives you the license to really go after and play your shots at this stage. So they don't need to worry too much about wickets, but what they want to do is put a total out there that is beyond the Vikings.
Yep, Hain just pulling a single off Best. They took 4.3 overs to get to 50, the Bears, and up to 10.2 when they passed 100. So I suppose you can argue, well, you can definitely argue that Yorkshire have slowed it down to some extent, but not vastly, and that run rate still at 9.9. This is going to take some chasing, but as Jane and Graham, you've both said when you've been with me, that boundary over the western terrace side of the ground does look short, and so any bowler who's got to try and deal with that might be in for a difficult night, as we see a single pushed up to long on by the left-handed Bethel.
A little bit of field adjusting going on. The right-hander facing as Best comes in from the Howard stand end, and it's driven down the ground just for a single.
Best 10 wickets in the comp so far at 20.6 apiece before tonight started, and he's yet to add to that this evening. He's got 1 ball left of his bowling night to be able to do so, and here it is. Down the ground, Bethel has hammered that one up towards long off. George Hill fields, they get back for 2. So 11 overs complete. Best completes his set of 4 for 29. 100 108 for 3. Thanks very much, Jane. He's going to step out and let Graham back in. So 108 for 3 means that there were 10 scored from that Dom Bess over. 32 to Hayne and 8 to Bethel now. 9 overs remaining. Yorkshire staring down the barrel here of a very sizable chase. And Moriarty, well, they're going through all the spin options here. He's bowling his penultimate over of his 4. Will we see Adam Lyth? I would think it'll be unlikely that we see Adam Lyth tonight, the way I'm reading this.
There's a conundrum for the Vikings, isn't there, with Matthew Revis bowling that 1 over for 24. So, you know, will Matthew come back, or will they find his overs from somewhere else?
Here's Moriarty flicked out towards deep backward square where Bess fields. 1 run to Sam Hayne. Yeah, how will it go? They just feel like there may be a bowler light on the night, to my eye. But of course, Jaffa Chauhan, well, if he's been struggling, as Jane says, it sounds like he's not so far away from playing, but not ready for tonight. That's just hit them a bit. Now then, it could be a catch here. It is a catch. It's a very well taken catch indeed by George Hill, coming in from the cow corner boundary, and Jacob Bethel took on Moriarty and has paid the price. A 2nd wicket on the night for Dan Moriarty. He's having a very good tournament, the former Surrey man, and 109 for 4 with Bethel gone for 8.
Yeah, really well judged catch, dodgy, wasn't it, by George Hill. Never easy, those out on the fence, are they? And he had to come forward towards the ball as well. It was really travelling, and in the end he took it low down in front of him and held on really well. All that practice, all those hours of catching practice during the week and before games, paying off there. Took it really well low down, George Hill. So another really important breakthrough that for the Vikings, that is for sure. Every one of these Bears batsmen so far have looked like danger men, haven't they? So every wicket has been crucial, but they have got 4 of them back in the pavilion, and we're still inside. Well, they've not quite completed the 12th over. If they can get rid of Sam Hayne, who's another real problem, that's for sure, then the Vikings might just think in this second half of this 20 overs, they might just feel as though they can claw this back.
So Chris Benjamin is the new man in. 892 T20 runs from 63 matches, 21.76 his average. He has got a highest of 68 not out, right-handed, and his first delivery from Moriarty is punched up to James Wharton, who is usually all over the place in the field. It's one of those nights where the ball's hardly reached him so far. Only a couple of throws I can remember. He's just down to the left of our commentary position, long off. 2 right-handers in now, which won't do any harm, you wouldn't think, as far as the bowlers are concerned. Moriarty is in. There's evidence of a little bit of turn. Haynes stepped away quite a long way to leg and then dragged it back just off the straight into the leg side. Another invaluable dot. So 2 for 20 off 2.4 for Moriarty so far. 2 of those, or 12 of those runs came in 2 blows by Alex Davies through the leg side. Another respectful push by Sam Hayne, but they'll be glad to see have seen the back of players such as Bethel and Mosley, who really are dangerous players when they open the shoulders. And Hayne working one out to Jordan Thompson at cow corner for a single to complete over number 12 at 111 for 4. So very good over by Moriarty at that stage, Graham. 3 runs from it and the wicket, but he only has 6 deliveries left tonight.
Yeah, you've got to say it's brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant from the Vikings left armour. 2 for 21 from his 3. Bess didn't get a wicket, but nonetheless his economy rate was good. 4 overs, no wicket for 29. And the answer to the conundrum that we were talking about just a few moments ago in terms of where the remaining overs might come from. Are the Vikings a bowler short? The answer to that is that George Hill is going to come into the attack from the Howard stand end.
Yeah, which is great. I think with Matthew Revis having gone for the 24, whether they're using for another over later on, we shall see. But you often are just put off doing that, which is why I was suggesting, maybe bowler line.
Here comes Hill then, as he bowls. And that's just tucked away into the leg side. They've gone through for one. There's a slight misfield. And again, there's an awkward bounce in front of Ferreira there, and it goes through. It's eventually fielded by Malan, who's backing up well, but that's maybe once, twice, 3 times that there's been a bit of untidiness in the field. One of them certainly I thought was an awkward bounce in front of Ferreira.
Few words between Malan. I'll tell you more after this ball.
In comes Hill to Benjamin. That's swung away behind square on the leg side. Revis does the fielding. They're through for 1.
So that's 3 throws in tonight from either side that Ferreira has not dealt with. He's not got down for. I was just going to say maybe he should do some toe touching practice as part of his own warm-up. But David Malan, I don't know if it's in joke or not, it's hard to tell from this distance, but he had a pop at him there for not getting down and just forming a barrier. And Donovan took his glove off and offered it to Malan as if to say, do you want to come and do the job?
Here comes Hill. Bit of dancing around in the crease from Hayne on this occasion. They go through for 1. Hill's got the Bears batsman hitting the ball straight down the ground there, bowling well to his field, George Hill.
Well, he's such an economical bowler when he plays in red ball cricket, George. He's about a 3 and over or 2.75 type of a man.
3 off the over so far, halfway through. That's well pitched up again. Again, we've got Benjamin, the new batsman, just pushing the ball up the ground straight to, I think that's Don Bess out there, who fields it long on, and they go through for another single. So 4 off the overs, 4 balls bowled. A run of ball for this over would be more than welcome for the Vikings.
Yep, and thanks to Richard Graves, who's just also confirmed it was Jaffa Chauhan with the broken thumb. Richard on the PA tonight.
Here's Hill. Hill in again. It's another dot ball. Well bowled, George Hill. Well, he's coming to the attack as the Vikings' 6th bowler tonight, and his first 5 balls have been absolutely terrific, I have to say, with the pressure really on at 115 for 4.
Can he get out of this over now? That's the big question.
Last ball, 13th over. Hill coming in, running in with a real head of steam. Great Yorker length delivery. It's dug out really well by Hayne, but quite rightly earning some great applause from the crowd inside the ground here tonight, recognising what a really good over, what an important over, and Hill's done a great job for his team there, bowling his first over for just 4 runs.
Yeah, superb. I mean, particularly considering he's bowling at Sam Hayne here, who's now set as you can be in a T20 match, 20 odd balls faced, 36 runs to his name, and has been in just been playing it as he likes really out there, but he was challenged there by George Hill. Interesting to see if Shan Masood decides to stick with him for the next over or switches ends. Don't like to let batters have much time to settle on a bowler, do they? So Chris Benjamin on strike, Moriarty to finish, and he's going to go for 6 first ball here through mid-wicket. He's seen Sam Hayne, he's seen Alex Davies do that twice to Moriarty earlier in the match, and he's for having some himself, Chris Benjamin. So that's not a great start to the over after the tight George Hill over. 4 off that last over, 6 off the first ball of this one.
Yeah, if it's there and it's on that length, the batters here are going to fancy their chances of clearing that short boundary across to the western terrace.
So he's gone wide of off stump with this latest delivery. Very good piece of fielding, Matthew Revis at point to keep them to 1 when that would possibly have been a 2 if it was on its way to the sweeper. Just getting a chance to see that again for those who are watching, but that's an excellent effort from Rev. 122 for 4. That brings Hayne back onto strike, and Moriarty with that skip and jump, and then comes in, and that's been hammered straight down the ground, and it's going to have too much pace for Adam Lyth to get round from his position at long on and field. So runs coming again in this over. They just managed to stymie the Bears' progress. 98 for 3 at halfway. and they'd got to, 115, so 17 off the next 3 overs. But this over so far has gone for 9 already.
Beautiful drive down the ground, wasn't it, from Hayne, right out the middle of the bat. Left foot, left leg, just slightly pulled away, driven all the way along the ground. Terrific shot.
And he comes again, Moriarty. That's been cut, and I don't think at first Sam Hayne thought it was going to be anything but a one. Then he started to hurry up. Another throw that Ferreira has not taken cleanly behind the stumps. It's just, it doesn't look very tidy at all, does it? And Malan is just having I think it must have been a jokey comment before, because again they've just been giving each other a push and a shove there. But whatever the runs represent at the end of the day, you can hear yourself from the club matches that we've both played over the years, and somebody will be having a pop at you for that, for just looking untidy, won't it? 127 for 4, and that's just club cricket. This is not top level pro sport, as that's hammered down the ground off the back foot by Hayne, who's going to pick up one. My apologies, Benjamin, was the man. One down to James Wharton at long off.
Brilliant piece of work on the edge, wasn't it? Got there quickly, body right behind it. I know what you mean about Ferreira, and it's quite often the thrower of the ball, isn't it, who will be blamed for a wild throw.
Moriarty goes really wide and bowls it seemingly wider, and Hayne gets it away to the sweeping George Hill at cover for 1 off the final ball of the over. Well, 2 for 35, so coming in at just under 9 and over, Dan Moriarty, but he has picked up 2 wickets, and on the night I reckon 9 and over, I think 180 on this deck is going to be, you're going to need at least that, it feels like it to me, so that's a good effort from Moriarty.
Yeah, really good spell, as we've been saying already tonight, Dodgy. One of the success stories of the Vikings campaign so far. Dan Moriarty obviously enjoying and appreciating the responsibility that's been given to him of opening the bowling with that left arm spin. So 14 bowled, 129 for 4 the Bears, and another big over from George Hill then. Comes in now, strikes the batter on the pat. I think it's collected by Ferreira behind the stumps, who's round to his left quickly and has a shy at the stumps actually, but it's another dot ball. Hayne trying to pull that away through the leg side, struck him on the pad, the ball looped up. Ferreira was round quickly behind the square, the wicket keeper, and did a really good job there to prevent a single. Sam Hayne on 42 not out now. The Bears 129 for 4 as another aeroplane heads towards Leeds Bradford Airport. Here comes Hill again. That's shot and that's pulled away towards the eastern side of the ground. My goodness me, that is a big hit tonight, and that's gone 7 or 8, maybe 9, 10 rows back, and a fabulous 6 over square leg. It was short, it was asking for it, but nicely middled, nicely timed. 6 more.
Yeah, you can see he's gone deep in the crease, and it's just a bit too short really from George, isn't it? And those margins that we talked about, that execution thing that I mentioned earlier on, and if you don't quite get it right, that's what happens. He's not by any means express pace, isn't George, but he didn't need to be in that first over when he bowled it so well.
Can he recover from that? Yes, he can. That's clipped off the thigh. It's going to be fielded by Davies again. Here comes the throw. Ferreira's right behind that one now, and I'm not sure what Ferreira's having a look at Davies there for the throw, but you know, that's the modern way, isn't it, to throw the ball into the keeper on the bounce, and it's really down to the keeper to make sure they get everything behind it, which he did there. He's having a tough old time, Ferreira, behind the stumps.
The wicket behind him now.
It would. Hill comes in again. Nice delivery. Yorker length just on leg stump. That one just squirts out onto the leg side, and Hill's round quickly. He had to be as well. They've got one, but potentially for a moment you thought there might be 2. Well done, George Hill. 2 balls left of this 15th over.
Yeah, and he's gone for just the 12 so far, including that 6. So again, can he get out of this over? A couple of singles, you're absolutely fine with that.
4 wickets down, as you say, Dodge. Another one now will be really useful as Hill comes in again. Just short of length, that one. It's pulled away through the leg side, and that's going to go between the 2 Vikings fielders on the leg side. Now then, was there some indecision between the 2 Vikings fielders there? I'm not sure. Was there a call? I'm not sure.
I just think it was absolutely magnificent placement by Sam Hain. It was not a bad ball, was it? But he's gone deep. He's waited as long as he could, and he's absolutely 50%, bisected that gap, hasn't he, between the two fields. I just don't think they had the pace to get there. It was a brilliantly struck shot.
Yeah, all along the ground. Terrific work. Hill's in again. Full toss. Outside leg stump. Clipped away in front of the square on the leg side. Revis is round. And it's all so quick, isn't it? This T20 Blast competition. And hardly time to take a breath at times. That's 15 overs bowled in this Birmingham Bears innings. 142 for 4, and Hain has now gone on to 54. Benjamin is the other not out batsman on 12. This partnership for the 5th wicket is now worth 33. Hill's now bowled 2 overs, no wicket for 17.
Yeah, so 13 off that more recent over of the 2. And Yorkshire have conceded, well, they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 overs that have gone for double figures. One of them, of course, 24 earlier in the piece. That could hurt them come the final outcome. We shall see. Jordan Thompson back into the attack. The Kirkstall Lane end goes full first up. It's been turned in front of square leg side by Hain. Very nicely fielded by Don Bess out there to keep them to just the 1. And still key, Graham, that they're on it in the field here, as Revis's throw doesn't make it to Malan on its way around the ring. So just those little bits, they don't look great. I know it's not cost any runs,
but their ground fielding generally been really good, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And they've had nothing really to catch by, and a really good catch by George Hill to dismiss Bethel. Here's Thompson. Oh, he's got him. He's got his man. Benjamin stepping across to try and play the scoop, premeditated. And Jordan Thompson strikes for a second time in the match. And he just keeps on coming at you, doesn't he, JT? Wicket after wicket after wicket in this competition. And the Bears now 143 for 5.
Great ball from Jordan Thompson. How often do we say that those Yorker length balls cause so many problems, irrespective of whether the shot was premeditated or whether it played a conventional drive through the offside. It's still a good ball, that Yorker length. It's unlikely to go for runs. It might go for 1, it might go for 2, but it's unlikely to go for a boundary, or it might collect a wicket, which is exactly what he's got there. And there's a temptation to think that this game, by and large so far, has been getting away from the Vikings, but they've just kept themselves in the hunt by taking wickets at really important times. And I'll say again what I said a few moments ago, if they can pick up the wicket of Sam Hain, I know it's a big if because he's already 55, he's well set and going really, really well, but should they be able to pick up his wicket, then the Vikings are right in this. The Bears are 5 down, 143 for 5, and we're in the 16th over. It's got the making of a really interesting game, this. If Yorkshire Vikings can keep the Bears, what would you say, under 200?
Yeah, I would have said so. Under 190 would give them a real chance, as Thompson, his first delivery here to new batter, left-handed George Garton, is turned out towards Cow Corner. George Hill had to make a fair bit of ground to get that back in, and they get 2. Yeah, if they could come in at somewhere under 190 from here, you'd be thinking they've set themselves up with a real chance, but you've still got the scoreboard pressure and all of that. But it looks a very, very good deck to me. Hard to tell pace-wise, I've got to say. It'll be interesting to see what the players make of it when we have a chat afterwards. It doesn't look unduly slow, as Jordan Thompson is in. He's sent long on and long off back, and it's a good delivery because Garton's trying to scythe that one away square on the offside, and it's straight through to the gloves of Ferreira. 4 overs and 2 balls, 26 deliveries remaining in this Bears innings.
Shan Masood's just fielding on the edge here up at long on, and Otis Gibson, I notice, has stepped out of the dressing room area, and he's on that boundary edge just having a chat with his captain at the moment.
Over's gone for just the 3 so far, including a wicket as well, and Garton steps away to leg and chops that into the deck. And this is the difficulty. It doesn't matter how good the pitch is for any player coming at this stage, the back end of the innings, when you've got to start quickly. The one big thing in their favour at the moment for the Bears is that Sam Hain is still out there on 55. Excellent effort from him. And the second time in the summer that he's had scores against Yorkshire in this competition. As Garton opens the face, runs this one out to point. They're coming back for 2 here. Ooh, now then they're appealing for a run out. Peter Hartley says no. Not quite able to get the throw off quickly enough to deny them the second there, the Yorkies. So 16 overs complete, but still a really good effort there by Jordan Thompson. He took a wicket and he's only gone for the 5 runs, 147 for 5 with 4 remaining.
Yeah, so 4 left. Breathless evening of cricket so far then here at Headingley. 4 left, and we've got McCurr, who has bowled 2 overs so far, so he's got 2 left. He's bowled 2 overs, 1 for 17. He will probably bowl 2 out, you would think, from the Howard stand end. Jordan Thompson has got 1 left after this, so there's another over from somewhere that the Vikings will need to find. You will think probably George Hill will have to come back and bowl another one. We will see. 147 for 5. The Vikings digging in, working really hard. Really important stage of the game now. Then Hain facing on 55. Clipped away through the leg side. My goodness me, that's timed brilliantly, and that has gone all the way for 6. Just behind square on the leg side. Well, it was wide down the leg side. It's a nice pace, McCurr, isn't he? He needs to be straighter than that on that pace, and he's just basically let that glance off the face of the bat, and it's flown away for 6.
Yeah, not a great start to the over from Connor. He almost like he stepped across and he fed him, didn't he, really?
So McCurr already back to his mark then. And there's a shot there that's going to be... Well, it's gone over the top of the infielder, the third man infielder there. I think that's Dan Moriarty. He's up in the circle, and it's gone over the top of him, off the outside edge, and it's gone through for 4 more runs. So 10 off the first 2 balls, just when the Vikings needed some dot balls. And they've got exactly the opposite, and Hain there just showing what a quality marksman he is.
Yeah, I mean, it played it deliberately, opened the face, and he knew if he gave it plenty, just that bit of leverage over the top would work out well for him.
Pressure on McCurr, outside off stump, use of the feet, half full, it driven over the top. Has that gone all the way, or is there a bounce just inside the rope? Umpire Peter Hartley is consulting. He's not certain. He's confirmed that it's 6. So he's got the signal from Shan Masood, I think, who confirms that it went all the way. It's 6 more, and this is turning out to be a really expensive over. It's just the right sort of pace, though, isn't it, Dodgy, this?
Yeah, it's 3. To be fair, it's 3 poor deliveries so far that were there for the hitting.
Hain goes on to 71, absolutely motoring in this over. What has McCurr got? Better ball, but it's going to be a wide, is it? Yes, it is. It's down the leg side. It's only just actually missing leg stump. It's not all that wide. It goes straight through to Ferreira. But Peter Hartley, the umpire at the far end, still says that that's wide enough for him. So the arms go out, and that is a wide ball. More pressure on Conor McCurr then, who makes his way back to his mark. And you can just feel the tension developing in the air here. 164 for 5, the Bears are then now. Better ball, well, I thought it was, but it's absolutely swung away over the top of mid-wicket. A ball that's probably pitched on around about middle, maybe midland leg, and he's timed it to absolute perfection. What an absolute classic shot that was over mid-wicket. It's probably going to hit middle stump more or less. And it's 6 more. Well, yeah. Conor McCurr's over's going for a few.
You really got to think about what he's doing here again. It's not a great delivery, is it? He's stepped right back and across, and he's almost then bowled it in the slot that he's stepped back into, hasn't he? So, yeah, I mean, tremendous shot by Sam Hain, superb.
Still 2 balls remaining in the over. Better ball. He's got that further up in length. And well, Hayne, you know, sensible play from him. In all fairness, he's weighed in heavily in this over already, so he's happy just to take a single from the fifth delivery. Pushes it up towards long on. Don Best doing the fielding, and they go through for one. And the Vikings are just pleased that they've got Hayne off strike. I have to say, he's on 78 now.
Yeah, and they're kind of, given that Matthew Revis went for 24, if that means he's not got the confidence to use him again, then they're running out of options here. George Hill went for 4 and then 13. Conor McCur's got 1 over left after this. You know, and we said seam right from the get-go is going to look difficult tonight. They needed another spinner in the side. They haven't got one.
As McCur comes in again, round the wicket this time to the left-hander.
Oh, he's unlucky there.
That is unfortunate. Peter Hartley's arms go out again, confirming another wide ball. Oof, that was marginal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he's unlucky there, I've got to say. He's not bowled well in this over, no doubt about it, but that is just... well, mind you, I was looking at the replay, maybe not. Actually, it looked a little bit closer than that from the first glance.
Where does he bowl it? Does he take the pace off the ball? Does he go for that Yorker? Here he comes again round the wickets, outside off stump, and actually a swing and a miss from Garton. Not a great swing, you have to say. And it just shows the value in getting Hayne off the strike. But that's the end of another really, really expensive over. McCur, 3 overs, no mains, 1 for 42. Yep. Now his figures.
Not going to make Matthew Revis feel any better, but he did go for 1 more than Rev in that over. Conor McCur, 25 off the over. That's huge at this stage, and that 200 you talked about, well, he's well within their compass now, isn't it? 18 off the last 3 as a result of that, and things look like they'd really tightened up with that Jordan Thompson over, the one before. And Tomo, well, he's got just this one left, so over number 18, and you would have thought he would have been bowling one of the 2 absolute death overs. So he's gone for 6 first ball here. That's a shocker from Jordan, unfortunately. It's a low full toss, and you can't bowl that to anybody, let alone a man who is absolutely flying here in Sam Hayne in the 70s, and he's not going to be too far off getting a ton here. You're fancying him for that, I think. Now he's on to 84, and it's been an outstanding knock, it really has. What a player he is in domestic T20 cricket, and you often look at his figures and wonder why the international opportunities haven't come, but he's class, and you have to bowl well at the man. 84 not out, and in comes Thompson. He's tried something out of the back of his hand there. He's going to go for 4 more. That's cut away backward of point, and again he knows he's not quite executed that one as well as he would have liked, and they're going to get well over 200 here the way they're going, Graham.
Brilliant batting, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, certainly not great from a Vikings point of view, but it is quality to watch from Hayne. He's when he plays these wonderful strokes, his body is so still, he's into position quickly, his head's down, he's watching the ball right onto the bat, and his timing is absolutely exquisite.
Here comes Jordan again. He's going to be hammered down the ground this time, and Shan Masood has managed to get a hand on that. Is he going to keep him to 1? Yes, he is. Now that could be vital as far as the remainder of this over is concerned, because well, we'll see, won't we? But George Garton has not been, shall we say, quite as fluent as Sam Hayne so far.
Great work by the captain, Shan Masood there, saving a boundary for sure. That right hand, that right wrist is heavily bandaged, isn't it? But he wasn't worrying about getting that hand down and stopping a really well-struck drive there.
Thompson in, he's gone Yorker length, and Garton manages to get it away up to Masood at long on for 1. Sam Hayne, he did play 2 one-dayers for his country, made 106 runs, 89 of them in one of those innings. Never played a T20 international, but his T20 record over 4,000 runs coming into this one. He's just had the 100 previously, 112 his highest score, 31 50s. He's got one of those tonight to make that into 32, and he's 11 away from a second T20 ton. Thompson in, it's massive ton to his name, a very famous innings, and thought he was in for a second T20 100 himself earlier this year, was really kicking himself when he got out with plenty of time to go.
You don't mind those drives down the ground for a single, Dodgy, do you? You know, he's bowling to his field there. That's good bowling from JT.
Yeah. As back to Garton, who's swung this one away. He's going to get 4. It's wide of Masood at long on. And so Jordan Thompson completes his 4-over set with that latest delivery. 2 for 41 off his 4. So again, he's picked up wickets, but he's gone for just a few too many, I think you'd say. He's into the 40s. Having said that, again, if they come in at 200 plus, as it's looking like they're going to do, then he may still be slightly in at under the rate. It's not been a bad night at all. He's picked up those 2 wickets, just 1 or 2 of those later boundaries. So difficult, I think, tonight, as we may see, who knows, when Birmingham have to bowl themselves, see how their seamers go.
I think that's a fair shout, Doidgy. I think, you know, 40 from 4 overs, if a team's getting sort of 200 plus, 40 from one of the 5 bowlers is probably about par for the course. Here's George Hill then, coming in now, strikes Hayne on the pad, it squirts out onto the offside, fielded by David Malan, and they go through for, was that signal to leg by Peter Hartley? I didn't quite see the signal, maybe not,
no,
maybe there was some bat on that. Yeah. And well, the Vikings have done well there, because their biggest wish at the start of this over probably would be to get Hayne off strike first ball, which is what they've done. So it brings Garton down to the striker's end now. Left-handed Garton. He's got the short boundary away to his right, pitched up pretty well by Hill outside the off stump, driven down the ground. They've gone through for 1, and Don Bess has got down well there to save the boundary. Throw comes in, and they go through for 2. So not such a bad outcome for the Vikings.
No, I think at this stage, last 2 overs, you'd probably take anything in single figures from both these 2 overs, and you'd be going, yeah, I think we can, you know, we're okay with that.
192 for 5. As Hill comes in again. Garton is reaching well outside the off stump there. He moved away, backed away outside the leg stump, and ended up having to reach for that one. He gets a thicket edge down towards the 3rd man boundary, or wideish 3rd man, more closer to square if anything, fielded by Matthew Revis, and they have picked up just a single to take the total on to 193 for 5. We're in the 19th over, remember, halfway through it at the moment, as Hill comes into Hayne. Big test for George Hill. Oh, look at that. That is an absolutely majestic stroke. It's up onto the 2nd tier, where it's brilliantly caught by a gentleman in a grey sweater in the 3rd row of the 2nd tier. 6 more to the Bears, 199 for 5. But a shot of absolute genius from Hayne, I think you've got to say.
Yeah, superb shot. Just an orthodox shot as well, not one of these adaptations. Stepped into it, and fantastic.
Pressure on Hill again. Hayne on 97, clips it off his legs behind square. So you mentioned this not too long ago, that you thought Hayne was on for a century here, and he's very, very close now. He's on 98, and that brings up the 200 for the Bears. 200 for 5. 1 ball remaining of this, the 19th over. And, well, what the Vikings need here is maybe a dot ball than a tight last over.
Wicked do.
Absolutely. It's going to be a tough chase, anything over 200. That's driven back up the ground by Garton. Strikes it well, and not a bad outcome again, because he's taken the single, which means that Garton will be on strike for the start of the final over. So that's the end of George Hill's spell, and you would have to say that in the scheme of things, George Hill's figures of 3 overs, no maidens, no wicket for 29 is no mean feat whatsoever, with the Bears absolutely flying on 201 for 5. So 1 over remaining then. And it looks as though, Deutsch, it's going to be Conor McCurry swapping ends and going to bowl the last over from the Kirkstall Lane end. Yeah, which I suppose was expected, just given that Matthew Revis had gone for that 24 earlier on, and clearly there's a loss of confidence in using him again tonight. They're doing it tough enough though here, Yorkshire. What will the Bears produce in this final over? Garton on 13, he's gone full toss first up, and it's going to be 4. Jordan Thompson's out there at cover, but it's a poor delivery again. And he really hasn't executed well at all, I don't think, tonight, has he, Conor McCurry?
First over of the night went for 6. That was definitely his best return. He went for 12 in over number 5, and he went for 25 in over number 17, and they'll be eyeing up a big one here. If they get 220 plus, I don't care who you are, that takes a lot of chasing down. And McCurr round the wicket goes, bouncer this time, and it's a shot that maybe Carlos Alcaraz would have been proud of at Wimbledon earlier today. He's a tennis shot to a man who was pretty good at tennis when he was younger. So I understand George Hill doing the fielding, coming in off the boundary. They get 2, 207 for 5.
Interesting that Adam Lyth is coming across, having regular discussions with McCurr between deliveries here. I noticed Shan Masood was up after the last ball.
Garton to face McCurr. He's got underneath this one. It should be an easy catch for Donovan Ferreira, and is. So Garton gone for 19, and a wicket for Conor McCurr, which will make him feel somewhat better, I guess. 2 now for him, and 207 for 6 the result.
Yeah, the first ball of the over wasn't a great one, was it? As you said, it was just smashed away through the offside for 4, putting a lot of pressure on the bowler. But the last 2 balls, he's responded really well. He's having regular discussions with Lyth and Malan and Masood as well. So lots of experience around him there in the field, just helping the Vikings bowler Conor McCurr. Wicket again at a vital time. And of course, with the rules as they are in the game now, despite the fact that the batsman may have crossed, that no longer is an issue. So the new batsman will face the 4th ball of this last over, and it's going to be Folkes who's coming in.
Yeah, imagine if you're Sam Hain. Well, it did once happen to me when I was in the 90s at one end and never got to see a ball in the last over. He might be like that. Who knows? Yorkshire will be hoping that's the case, because that will, they hope, mean it'll be dots or wickets rather than 4s or 6s or 2s. McCurr's just sent out deep backward square, catching on the Western Terrace boundary, but to be fair, the Western Terrace boundary needs to be about 10 yards longer, the way that it's been found tonight by the Bears batters. And so Zach Folkes, Kiwi, is in, and he's going to get 6 first ball, stepping away, and again he's been fed there. That's gone a long way back into the Howard stand. Real height on it as well, gone right underneath it, and he's pinged it aerially. And so 213 for 6. You're not giving yourselves a whole lot of chance of winning a match when you go for this many, Graham.
No, I mean if he misses that one, it's a wide, isn't it, at best? And also with your fine leg up in the circle, saving one, then bowling wide of the leg stump is not a great idea. Credit Folkes, he's realised, you know, that the fine leg is up, saving one, and he's tried to make sure he gets something on it over the top of that fine leg fielder, saving the one. And you've got to say he did more than just get something on it. He's absolutely glanced it brilliantly into the Howard stand for 6 more. Not great for the Vikings.
What's he going to do this time? He's wide of off stump, and a swish and a miss and run out. So Folkes has gone, 2nd ball for 6, run out by Ferreira. He was run out rather than stumped because he was trying to make a run and turned round and couldn't get back quickly enough. So poor old Sam Hain, after what has been an outstanding knock, he's going to come up short of a ton here unless something happens off this next ball, a no ball, that they get a single off, something like that. But yeah, he's going to miss out, and Folkes gone for 6 off 2.
Well, it was an eventful 2, wasn't it? It was mission accomplished on the first ball. It was a wildest shot to a ball outside the off stump, straight through to Ferreira, and credit to Ferreira, who's not had the easiest evening with the gloves tonight. Took it cleanly, and then an underarm throw hitting the stump. So great work by the Vikings keeper there. And importantly, wicket ball means dot ball, doesn't it? So no addition to the score. 213 for 7. Dan Briggs coming in then to face the last ball, and McCurr just needs to make sure that this is a legitimate delivery to keep Hain away from any further strike.
Here he is then, he's gone wide Yorker, he's got it away down to 3rd man, and they're going to settle for 1 to Briggs. And so Sam Hain finishes 98 not out from 48 deliveries, 5 fours and 8 sixes. And you do feel for him that he's not managed to tick off the 3-figure score, because that is an absolutely outstanding knock. And if the Bears go on to win this match, then clearly he has played a very, very key role in scoring, going on for half their runs.
Yeah, it's been a terrific innings to watch. 214 for 7, 98 not out to Hain, and it's the speed about which he's gone about his business tonight. Those 48 deliveries faced, and it's the manner of his stroke play, it's the way he's played. He's obviously, taken a few chances, but they've been, it's been a coordinated and a carefully worked out risk, isn't it, in terms of how he's gone about his business tonight. So a great innings from him. He'll be disappointed not to bring up the ton. For the Vikings, quite a chase on here, chasing this 214 for 7 set by the Bears. It's a big total. We know that in that 214, the Vikings have bowled 2 overs at least that have gone for 20 plus. So it suggests that to win, that the Vikings have probably got to do something similar to the Bears bowlers when they start their innings shortly. But as you mentioned, Doige, it looks like a good pitch. It's true. It's coming onto the bat. It's quick. And there's an opportunity for somebody to shine in the Vikings innings tonight.
Yep, so 98 of 48 is the save for Sam Hain, 43 for Alex Davies, the headline individual efforts there. And then with the ball, let's just check in on the Yorkshire bowling analyses. Conor McCurr finishing with 4 overs, no maidens, 2 for 55, and certainly you'd have to look there, and obviously at that over of 24 from Matthew Revis tonight for those real bump ups in the scoring rate against the Vikings, but otherwise economy rates of 8.75 for Moriarty, 4 overs, no maidens, 2 for 35, 4 overs for 29 for Don Bess, as we said. Jordan Thompson, 4 overs, 2 for 41, and George Hill, 3 overs for 29. Tough work if you're a seam bowler tonight, I would suggest. And when you're looking at what the Bears have got to offer, well, Jake Lintott usually causes some problems for the Vikings. Danny Briggs, of course, as well. Dan Mosley. So they've got some experience. They're a very good side, which is why they're top of the table. And I think this is going to be, despite the fact that it's a good pitch, as you've said, and it looks to be as good as anything we've seen here at Headingley this season in terms of pace in it and all the rest of it. I think it's going to be a very difficult chase with scoreboard pressure and with a tabletop inside. But that's not to say they can't do it. They certainly can if they hit their straps with the bat. We'll see how they go in a few minutes' time. While they're having a break, we'll do the same. Back with you when they walk out for the second innings.
The Yorkshire Vikings are proud to be supporting the Stonewall Rainbow Laces campaign today to celebrate and show support for the LGBT plus community. Yorkshire County Cricket Club will also be taking part in Leeds Pride, which will take place on Sunday the 21st of July, and the club, participating for the third year in a row, will be joined by Leeds Kites Cricket Club, the first LGBT plus cricket team in Leeds, alongside members of the club's Yorkshire and Proud supporters group. I'm delighted to say right now here on the boundary edge we're joined during the interval by the chair of Leeds Kites Cricket Club, Steve Gillis. Leeds Kites formed last year, and tonight there are a number of Leeds Kites players here cheering on the Yorkshire Vikings. So firstly, Steve, just put into perspective for us the importance of somebody like Yorkshire County Cricket Club supporting the Rainbow Laces campaign and taking part in Leeds Pride.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. You know, it's all about visibility, and I think that there's a lot of people who potentially love the game, but don't necessarily feel like coming to a big stadium full of thousands of people that you don't know is necessarily for them if they're not feeling comfortable. And I think that just seeing the Rainbow Laces just as like a token of allyship really is what it's about. It helps put people a bit more at ease. It kind of just shows people that actually you can come down, you can come and enjoy the cricket, and as I say, it's just all about allyship and the idea that it doesn't really matter who you are. We're all here cheering on the same team, be that the Vikings or the Diamonds or whoever. And actually, that's really what matters, not necessarily who you love, I guess. So.
Yeah, one sport, one community. And in what ways have Leeds Kites been supported by Yorkshire cricket?
Yeah, we've been very lucky. Obviously, we only started up last year, so we're still very new. And Yorkshire were very sort of keen to sort of help us out in those early days. Sort of things like being able to, they offered us a couple of training sessions in the East Stand with some of their community coaches, which was, at that stage of our development, was massive because we had tons of new players. I think like the first one we had like maybe 10 or 12, and then the second session people had heard about it, seen it on social media, and we had like 25 all turn up. So that like helped grow the club massively. The other one as well, which was through the foundation, was KIT, the Cricket scheme. Cricket is a very expensive sport, right? Like I think it's the second most expensive sport to take up behind golf, and it's so expensive these days that basically it's a barrier. It's a barrier to starting up playing the game, and by providing sort of like unwanted, unloved second-hand kit, it means that people can just come down and try the game out and see if it's for them, and that's what we're about. So.
Well, Steve, we wish you the very best of luck. Ladies and gentlemen, show your support for Steve Gillies and the Leeds Kites Cricket Club. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the middle your umpires Peter Hartley, Surrender and Shanmugam. And taking back to the field, tonight's visitors, the Birmingham Bears. Ladies and gentlemen, taking to the field for the Yorkshire Vikings, Adam Lai and David Malan.
And so, welcome back from Headingley. Graham Colley and myself, Jonathan Doidge, with you. BBC Radio Leeds, the BBC Sport website and app, and of course live on the stream as well. And Yorkshire needing 215 for 5, have, as expected, as always, sent out Adam Lyth and David Malan as their opening pair, and much rests on the shoulders of this pair. George Garton's going to open the bowling from the Howard stand end for the Bears, and going to be really interesting in light of the way things have gone with the ball for Yorkshire, how Birmingham employ their bowlers in response. But they've got to defend this total, and they've got a slip in place, Sam Hain and Graham, to take through the first over.
So Garton with his left arm over the wicket, then running in towards us now. It's short to Lyth. Lyth plays that one in the air, and that was heart in mouth time. First ball of the Vikings innings for a minute there, where you tend to think that had that been just a bit further on in the innings, that Lyth would have probably pulled that into the western terrace for 6. It was short, it was slowish, it was loopy, and he just lobbed it up towards mid-on in the end, but it was landed safely, and they've gone through for a single. Lyth off the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself how important this opening stand could be for the Vikings, and it was nearly over there before it started. But we've got the two really experienced left-handers for the Vikings out there at the moment. So it brings Malan on to strike as he pushes that one away through the offside, as he does so often for the Vikings, and he's done so often down the years for his country as well. Just calmly just cuts that one through the covers, finds the gap. He does that so often. He's so clever as he finds the gap between the two fielders in the infield there. And Malan off the mark, first ball, picks up a boundary.
Yeah, super stuff from him. Now, he just waited, didn't he, for that? Timed it very nicely indeed. They seem to be stuck on the scoreboard at 0 for 0, but I can assure you that Yorkshire have got 5 so far.
Yep, 5 without loss. Garton's in again then, scurrying in towards us. That looks like a wide. Peter Hartley, the umpire, again extends the arms, and yeah, even with our naked eye from here, that looked wide, and it is confirmed as so. The Bears have a slip, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in the circle on the offside, on the leg side, and a fielder out on the fence just behind square. Garton's in again. Bit of movement in the air maybe from Garton there. Well pitched up, pushed out into the offside by Malan there, taking no chances. Don't need to go gung-ho right from the outset, Doidge. These two are really important for Yorkshire at the top of the order.
Yeah, I was going to just say that a couple of deliveries ago in between balls. Yeah, don't need to go gung-ho, but you kind of feel like they need to turn a bit of pressure back on Birmingham during this first 6. They need nearly 11 and over from the outset here.
Garton's in again then. Pushed up towards mid-on by Malan. Not much more, I think, that he could do with that. It's fielded, and they go through for just a single. I think that's Lintop running in there to do the fielding at mid-on. So one more to Malan.
Yeah, that scoreboard pressure, we always talk about it, and particularly in a match like this when you've gone north of 200. It's there all the time. It's like the fielding side have already got an extra 10 runs or something like that against their name, doesn't it, before you've even started?
Yeah, pressure really on. Garton's in again then to Lyth. Lyth clips that nicely away in front of square on the leg side. They go through for a single. It's only one. They've got a man back on the fence there. Throw comes in, and Adam Lyth, who has faced 2 deliveries so far and got 2 runs, 2 singles to him, 8 without loss, 1 ball remaining of this first over, so a couple more off this last ball. 10 off the first over would constitute a decent start for the Vikings. Garton just takes his time and passes the umpire now. Down the leg side, that looked a widest delivery again. It's fumbled by the keeper down the leg side. Yep, again the arms go out. Again, that is a wide ball down the leg side.
So it'll be 10 now on it with the bye that they've got from it.
Yep, they ran one as well. So, and it looks as though Davies, the wicket keeper, who got a hand on that, might have just picked up an injury here. Now, I'm not sure if it's a hand injury or whether he's holding his knee, or actually whether it might even be his back. He had to dive low down to his right hand side, down the leg side. Now the gloves are coming off here.
Right hand.
Yeah.
Looking at his right hand.
I think we'll see a visit from the physio here, potentially. He's crouched down now, and yeah, he was low down. He had to get the right hand down low. Taking a blow on that right hand. Here comes the physio. Here comes one of the squad members with towel around his neck, and here comes another gentleman with a bright orange jacket, and here comes the water carrier for the Bears. So we've got 4 assistants out there on the ground now for the Bears as Davies continues to crouch down and hold that right hand.
Yep, Johnny Tattersalls run the drinks on for the 2 Yorkshire batters, who clearly in need of them after 5 deliveries. Well, we hope that Alex Davies is okay.
You've got to imagine he's probably just caught that on the end of the finger, haven't you? Low down to his right hand side. Bowling at reasonable pace, Garton there.
Yeah, just taking a bit of time to try and get over the initial pain. And
as so often happens, Deutsche, how many people have got gathered round him, just staring and looking. Is he going to be okay? Can he get over this? How much pain is he in? The umpires across there now having a look as well.
And all these questions and many more will be answered. Shall we have a look at some scores elsewhere while we're waiting to see if Alex Davies can continue? Durham 190 for 5, Worcestershire 22 for 1 in this group, so need 169 off 97. Also in this group, Nottinghamshire made 175 for 5. They're playing Leicestershire at Trent Bridge, but rain has delayed a resumption there. And also at Northampton, Northants versus Lancashire, that's been abandoned without a ball bowled. So there's going to be some points added to some teams in the table here, which may or may not be a good thing as far as Yorkshire are concerned. We'll see how they come out of it. In the South Group, Glamorgan made 200, or are on 208 for 4 against Sussex down at Hove, and there's still over 3 overs of that one left. Match abandoned without a ball being bowled at the Oval, where Surrey were supposed to have played Middlesex. Kent made 150, and they've had rain there as well at Cheltenham, where Gloucestershire are 29 for 2. In fact, no, my apologies, Kent have won that match. They just got in the 5 overs, and Kent won it by 8 runs on the Duckworth-Lewis method. Essex-Somerset also abandoned without a ball being bowled, so sounds like we've got away with it lightly here in the north tonight, because plenty of rain around the south.
Yeah, it's rained a lot during the day in the south of England today, but not a bad evening at all at Headingley here tonight, with Yorkshire in reply to that 214 for 7, 10 without loss. And I'm pleased to say that Alex Davies, the Bears wicket-keeper, is okay to continue. He's happy now, he's got all patched up and he's ready to go. 1 ball remaining of this first over of the Yorkshire reply then. 10 without loss. It's bowled to Lyth, an outside edge from Lyth as he gets turned around a bit, I think, trying to play that one on the leg side. Hits the outside edge. It's just raced out backward a point there on the offside, and that is the end of the first over. So if the Vikings could have asked for a decent start, I think they would have probably settled for 10.
Yep, I think so. If you keep getting 10s, it's going to keep you somewhere in there pitching. And it's going to be Zach Folkes to open the bowling at this Kirkstall Lane end. First time I've seen him bowl, to be fair. It's a Kiwi who Warwickshire, the Bears, have brought in here, and he's going to bowl right arm seam up from this Kirkstall Lane end of the ground. They've got a slip in place, men up inside the circle, 45 backward of square both sides of the wicket, plus a wide third man and a man at deep backward square round the wicket. Then right arm round for Folkes, who strays leg side first up and will therefore concede a wide, says umpire Shanmugam.
Yorkshire heavy on the left-handers at the top of the order, aren't they, with Shan Masood due in next. Lyth and Malan, both lefties as well, out there in the middle at the moment. Welcome back to the team for Masood, having missed the last T20 game, didn't he, against Durham, as a result of some concussion protocols after the game against Lancashire.
Ooh, now then, Malan gets a leading edge on this delivery, which was again angled down the leg side and probably would have been a wide had he not played at it. But he's picked up one into the offside. Jim Green asking, would Yorkshire have batted? No way of knowing that until after the game. Jim, I don't think. Or did Shan Masood? Yeah, actually, no. I think Shan Masood might have said in his pre-match interview out there on the pitch that he would have batted first. Now I think about it, I'm almost certain he said that. As in comes Folks round the wicket. He's strayed way down the leg side this time. So Yorkshire getting a few freebies here early on. DC's asking if any official reason why Bairstow and Rashid are not playing. It sounds like Rashid could have been useful. He certainly could have. He'd have been very useful, wouldn't he? World-class spin bowler. But I think it's just the shoulder problem with Adil Rashid that they need to keep managing in between his England appearances. In comes Folks again, another one that is pulled down the leg side. So this is not a great start by Zach Folks at Headingley. No official reason given why Johnny Bairstow isn't playing. Don't forget, you're talking about England contracted central players here, not Yorkshire players. I would imagine there's been an inquiry on both counts. Folks trying to get it right this time. Oof, what is again straight leg side, and he's going to go for 4, backward of square leg. Lovely clip off the legs by Adam Lyth, an effortless little flick.
Oh, he's absolutely red hot there, Lyth, isn't he, on that leg side. And interesting to see, already 6 extras on the board already, and the Bears have only bowled 8 legitimate balls, 1.2 overs they've bowled, 6 extras, incredible, 18 without loss.
Yeah, DLS says Yorkshire should be 11 at this stage. Not that that's going to come into play tonight, but they've lost a wicket here. And there you go, Adam Lyth trying to swing this one away over the leg side, has got an edge on it. And so after a pretty disastrous start to his over, he has struck back there, folks, and Lyth gone. And that is a big loss for Yorkshire when you're chasing 215 runs to win a match like this.
It's gone through pretty quickly, hasn't it? It was a good, sharp, quick delivery. It was through Adam Lyth, and yeah, he looks up to the heavens, Adam Lyth. He's really disappointed with that. That's not what the Vikings needed at all. He's disappointed with himself. He just picked up a boundary, been a couple or more wides in the over already. The Vikings had made a pretty good start up to that point, but it's a big blow to lose Adam Lyth so early in the innings. 18 for 1 from 1.3 overs, and yep, sadly Lyth has gone.
So James Wharton, they're going to go right hand left hand combi, as is usually the case once the first wicket has gone. He's gone in at number 3. Shan Masood, you would have expected to go in at 3, just keeping himself back, but yeah, there's no underestimating that is a huge loss for Yorkshire. Adam Lyth has already ticked off 1,000 runs in all forms of both forms of senior cricket that he's played in this domestic season, and he's been pretty red hot, so that's a major blow. But James Wharton has had 100 at this level, and as we said earlier, Adam Lyth has played many more games and had just the 100 himself, so that is not to be sniffed at. You remember that monumental knock against Worcestershire in June of last year on this ground, and of course comes into this full of confidence from having scored his maiden first class 188 just the other day down at Chesterfield against Derbyshire in that Division 2 County Championship match. So he's just been made to wait here by the Bears. And there's going to be a change of keeper. Alex Davies has given up the gloves, and Chris Benjamin is going to take over. So Davies completed the catch there to dismiss Adam Lyth. 6 off 5 deliveries, by the way, for him. And a change of keeper. Benjamin has gone in there, and Folks with his latest delivery is wide of Wharton's off stump, and he's happy to watch it go by. Can't afford too many of those dots, but he's certainly allowed to look at 1 or 2 I'm sure James Wharton, 197 to win off 18.2 overs sounds pretty steep. Whatever form of the game you're playing, whatever standard. Folks, in again, short, and Wharton turns that one square on the leg side. And we'll pick up one. Yorkshire lad says, poor keeping by Ferreira tonight, what a waste of money. If he doesn't get a few runs tonight, he should be dropped for Tats or even Duke. Scored on versus Lancs seconds this last week, says Yorkshire CC grumbler, but Yorkshire lad thinks that means nothing. Have your say at Sporting Lives 1. BBC West Yorkshire Sport at gmail.com. Remind me of yours, Graham.
At Graham C41.
In comes Folks again. Beautiful shot. That really is a class shot by David Malan. Hits it on the rise through the covers. Got it wide of Mosley, who's fielding in the covers there, I think it is. Or is it it's Ed Barnard. And a 4 out to the Western Terrace. So 10 to Malan, 23 for 1 after 2 eventful overs in more ways than one.
Yeah, absolutely. Very eventful. And yeah, great shot by Malan again. Not an enormous amount of feet movement is there, but the way he times the ball, and again finds the gap in the field on the offside brilliantly there. David Malan, he's on 10, 23 for 1 from 2, and it's probably, the likelihood is that somebody in the Vikings lineup is probably going to need to get 80 or 90 to give the Vikings a chance. That's how it feels to me, and Malan might be the man, hopefully will be the man. Can he be the man to do so, to give the Vikings a fighting chance? So over number 3 is going to be bowled by Dan Mosley, and he will come round the wicket from the Howard stand end to bowl the 3rd over, and it's off spin from him, bowled quickly. A little bit short in length onto that leg stump, but that's decent from him for a first ball, and that's clipped away though by Wharton, who picks up a single, finding the middle of the bat really nicely there, James Wharton.
Yeah, but the 3 spinners here that Birmingham play in Mosley, Lintott and Briggs, all very good at what they do, and just having that extra spinner, those 4 overs more of spin here compared to what Yorkshire had, you just feel right from the word go they're going to have to put the pace on the ball, the batters themselves.
Here comes Mosley again. Oh, and swing and a miss from David Malan, and the bails were off in no time actually from Benjamin there, the substitute keeper behind the stumps. Great piece of work from him. So he's no mug with the gloves, that's for sure. Malan waits again as Mosley comes in, driven through the covers again. He's found the gap now. That could go all the way across the practice wickets. It's going to race away by David Malan. Terrific shot, forcing shot there from Malan. And it's another delightfully played boundary.
Yeah, well, we say it time and again on commentaries, don't we? I remember, you enthused about his over against Samit Patel a few weeks ago here against Derbyshire when he was hitting him down and down. He's just a world-class player, still is, and he just pushed at that, didn't he? But it's just the timing in the ball. It almost seemed to pick up pace as it went.
Yeah, raced away. Round the wicket again from Mosley, and that's gone straight through to the keeper. Malan had a little dabble again. There's not much foot movement, doesn't get the feet across, but that goes through to the keeper, no addition to the score. 28 for 1. Mosley comes into ball number 5 of the over, outside off stump, streaky edge through towards short third man. Malan was off the mark there, thinking about a single, but there wasn't really much chance of one with Hayne there, tight in on the circle, doing the fielding, no addition to the score.
And here you go, 5 off the over so far. The pressure's on him to score now.
Yep, and he plays this one backward of square on the onside. They go through for 1. So Mosley's over there is complete. 6 off the over, and as you say, JD, it's not quite enough that. I know they've only faced 3 overs so far. Still a long way to go, but a run rate from here on in of just under 11 means that they can't afford to have too many overs, the Vikings, like that. But a good over of spin by the Bears, you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they could have done with some more, but they've gone 10, 13, 6 in the 3 overs so far, but what I was trying to say really was the first over of spin there, and it already looks like it's harder work. So bearing in mind they've still got another potential 11 overs of spin if they want to bowl it, the Bears, then you know Yorkshire could be doing it tough. They're ahead of where the Bears were at the same stage, 17 for 1 after 3, but this was the point at which they took Matthew Revis for 24. It's going to be Craig Miles bowling from this Kirkstall Lane end. Will Yorkshire be able to do the same? First delivery, no, is pushed into the offside, but missed by Malan. He was trying to get it through a gap between square cover and extra cover, missed out, so a good start by Craig Miles. He was bowling right arm seam from the Kirkstall Lane end.
Generating a bit of pace off the pitch as well by the look of that first ball. Wicket-keeper standing well back.
In he comes again then, wide of off stump, slashed away. This is going to be 4. Yep, just a little bit too full and just a little bit too wide, and Malan cleverly opens the face and drives that along the deck all the way for a shot that was well worth 4.
Yeah, it's such a class player, we've said it before. Brilliant timing, onto it really, really quickly. He's the key wicket for the Bears, isn't he? You know, without any doubt, they will see that if they can get Malan, then they've got a great chance of winning the Bears. If he can stay around a while, Malan, then the Vikings are in with a chance.
33 for 1, Malan on 19. He's pulled this latest one. He's going to get 4 more here. The outfield is like glass here tonight at Headingley. That's one thing at least in Yorkshire's favour as the tide chasing now, because once it gets past the infield, you've basically got no chance of catching up with it, have you?
No, I mean, he's doing to Miles now what the Bears did to Revis. If he can continue at this sort of rate against him, he's already moved on to 23, so not quite as orthodox as some of his other stroke play tonight, but they all count, don't they?
Just good placement. So 37 for 1, yeah, 23 to him, halfway through the 4th here, and Miles in again. And he goes big again, Malan through the offside, but once more he misses, just a little bit of nip off the pitch. Going to do evening to Jane Timon, who says Malan is so beautiful to watch, should never have been dropped by England in both red and the white ball format. He's class, there's no doubt about that. He's a very, very enjoyable player for us to sit here and commentate on when he's in full flow. He's not been perfect tonight. We've seen him, there you go, just that last delivery being a case in point. He's missed 1 or 2. But he's still there, and he's flicking one off the hip, trying to get it fine, can't quite get it past fine leg. It's going to be a leg by looking at the shaping of Shan McGann's body. Yep, he's signalled it thus. 38 for 1 from 3.5, so they've taken 9 off this over, so they're there or thereabouts. They just don't want to get too far behind. I'm not advocating that every over's got to go for the rate, but you know, you don't want to get too far behind. If you can throw in a couple of really good overs during that time, just like the Bears did, then that breeds confidence. It would give them a lot of confidence if they could win this fixture from here tonight, the Vikings. And there goes Wharton down the ground, wide of mid-off, who's up inside the circle and picks up 4 off the last ball of it. It's a great way to get out of the over for Yorkshire. A first boundary for James Wharton, and 4 overs complete, 42 for 1. And even after that 24 run over by Matthew Revis, the Bears were 41 for 1 at the same stage.
So Yorkshire right up there with the rate, and that was a class shot from James Wharton, just using his feet, coming down the pitch, hitting the ball on the up, in the gap through the offside, and once it beats the infield tonight, you are guaranteed 4 pretty much. It's absolutely like lightning, as Doji was just saying there. So a great end to the over for the Vikings. Malan on 23, Wharton on 6. He's already proven that he looks like a man in form. James Wharton finding the middle of the bat there, and at the start of another over from Mosley then with his off spin outside the off stump. That one well pitched up, and it's really well taken by Benjamin, who whips the bails off in no time again.
Yeah, and of course Jacob Bethel could bowl spin as well for the Bears if they wanted him to. Thanks for FPL Spartans for nudging us on that front.
Here's Mosley round the wicket, good ball again, pushed out onto the offside by Malan. I think he was trying to do more with it than that, but it was well pitched up, and he ended up just pushing it out to the fielder there at extra cover. Mosley's in again. He's quite quick with his right arm off spin again. A better shot from Malan, but it's directed straight to the extra cover fielder, and there's no addition to the score. Mosley's already back to his mark. He's rushing Malan here somewhat. Malan's ready now, driven up towards mid-off. Who's on the edge of the circle? There is one. He scampers through, David Malan. And this is one of those overs where maybe they're not likely to be up towards the 10 or 11 and over. Keep the ones and maybe the twos ticking along as well. That always helps against the spin. Mosley, 2 balls remaining of his second over. This is the Vikings' 5th. Mosley's in now to Wharton. Oh, and a brilliant reverse scoop by Wharton. Look at that from James Wharton. You've got to say that's an absolute genius shot from him. Reverse sweep all the way for 6. Behind square on the leg side. Brilliantly picked up and against the spin. And when you pin down against the spin, it just needs something a bit different, and Wharton has provided it there.
Yeah, those who can see it, I mean, just a flick, wasn't it?
Oh, and he's away again, Wharton. This time it's a full toss, and he's steered that away wide of mid-wicket for another boundary, and what an end to the over for the Vikings. Well, there is a man in terrific form who's seeing the ball really well. James Wharton, take your hat off. 6 and 4 to finish the over. 5 overs bowled. The Vikings are 53 for 1. Well, it's a dream end to that over there from Mosley, who suddenly bowled 2 overs for 17 with 10 coming off the last 2 balls of the over. And well, you've got to say that the Vikings are right up there with the run rate at the moment.
Yeah, James Wharton just got him out of a bit of a hole, didn't he? 1 off the first 5 balls, and it looks as though the match up there very much in favour of the Bears when it's Mosley at Malan. But James Wharton has clearly found something attractive about Mosley's bowling off those last 2 deliveries, and they'll want to keep him off strike next time Dan has the ball in his hand. But it's just developing into a really good contest at this moment in time. 162 more needed. Still feels like a big ask, but they're at 10.6 at the moment. They need 10.8 from here on in, so they're just about bang on. Short ball here from Folkes, who's back on at the Kirkstall lane end, pulled by Malan. He pinged that one round the corner as well. He's coming back for 2 after a tumbling stop out there in the deep, and a very good one at that. And so Malan on to 26, 55 for 1. As I say, really interesting game of cricket, but I think at this stage you'd still rather be the side with the runs on the board than the one doing the chasing, because you can't afford many slip-ups as Malan drops that into the offside and picks up 1. And Yorkshire, go on.
I was going to say it was a good slower ball, wasn't it? And thinking about it now, that's maybe something that, other than Jordan Thompson, maybe, it's probably something that the Yorkshire bowlers, the seam bowlers, didn't do often enough in that Bears innings.
Yes, so far in his few games on loan from Surrey, Conor McCurk haven't really seen much of a slower ball from him, and so if the opposition, they'll have done their homework, have also picked that out, that might have helped to feed them during that innings in terms of at least knowing if he's not going to bowl many slow balls, then we've got that on a single. It just felt right from early doors that they were going to be short on spin, and it could cost them. It might still not. They might still be good enough to win the match. Who knows? But Folkes is in, slower ball from him, pulled away out to Cow Corner there where Miles fields, and Malan picks up a single. So he has got in here, hasn't he? He's faced more than the notional 20. 22, I think, deliveries against his name. Yep, for 28 runs. 5 falls so far for David. And James Wharton, 17 from 7. Over the wicket now, he's gone for 6 here. That's a big blow by James Wharton, who's got right underneath it. There's a party out there on the western terrace down the far end, and they'll be having a ball now as they throw the white one back into the field of play. It's a short ball, and he's got that away pretty fine. It's a really well executed shot.
Yeah, it's cleared the boundary by a long way, hasn't it? Great shot. It was short. It was sitting up really nicely, but the thing is that Wharton's onto it so quickly. He's got a really nice relaxed stance at the crease. Nothing premeditated about that.
Here he comes, folks, again. Punched into the offside and fielded at mid-off. They're going to get through for a single off the final ball of the power play. At this point, the Bears were 67 for 2. Yorkshire will have lost 1 wicket fewer and they've scored 2 runs fewer. So again, just that marker point, they're there or thereabouts. I mentioned, didn't I, quite a way into the Bears innings, how many double-figure overs they'd had. They'd had those 2 bumper overs, 25 and 24. But Yorkshire so far have only failed to take 10 off 1 of the 6 overs bowled.
Yeah, it's been a really encouraging start. And if these 2 continue at the middle for long, then we could be in for a really interesting, possibly dramatic night. So Malan going really well. Wharton is doing brilliantly well at the moment, that's for sure. So Wharton is on 24 from just 9 deliveries, and that's the sort of return that the Vikings really needed to give themselves a chance tonight.
Now Jake Lintott coming on at the Howard stand then took 3 for 15 from his 2 overs down at Edgbaston and regularly causes the Yorkies problems.
Here he comes again then to Wharton. Left arm over the wicket. Wharton happy just to push that one up towards long on. And they go through for a single. Looks like a bit of wrist spin dodgy here from Lintott. And that was well pitched up. But Wharton happy just to push that up the ground. Go up towards the Howard stand for a single. 66 for 1. 6.1 overs, of course. More fielders outside the circle now. The power play is complete. So Lintott will bowl with the wicketkeeper, of course, standing up. 3 on the offside in the circle, 1 on the on. Brilliantly driven by Malan. Look at this, racing across the outfield. It's another boundary to David Malan. Slightly over pitch, not much in the track in terms of turn at the moment. It's fairly flat, the delivery, but the timing on the shot from Malan is absolutely a joy to watch. He races on to 32. 70 for 1.
Yeah, Lintott very, very good during the middle overs, although curiously, over number 11 has not proved to be a great one from over the years.
Here he comes now. Oh, there's an appeal for LBW there as Malan tries to pull that one away towards the western terrace. Maybe just not quite short enough for the pull shot there, and it was pretty straight. There was an appeal from the bowler, possibly the keeper as well. I think an arm was raised there, but umpire Peter Hartley not interested in that. That's a good ball that's gone through the gate. Now that looked like the wrong one, didn't it, from Lintott? As Malan played forward, it looked as though it got back inside the inside edge, and the keeper has fumbled it. I don't think he got anything on it. Great ball by Lintott, you have to say. Looking for a replay of that. We're not going to get one. It's all happening really quickly here at the moment as Lintott's already coming in. That's short and wide down the leg side. Tumbling stop by the keeper, Benjamin.
Well, I talked about execution when Yorkshire were bowling. It looks like he's pulled a hamstring, or if he hasn't, he's certainly feigning that. Jay Lintott, he's got a smile on his face. But something went wrong with that, didn't he? And he really dragged it down.
Oh, he really did. That's not a great ball at all, is it? And another extra added to the total, so 9 extras already then here. Lintott comes in, he's hit Malan on the pad as he tries to swing that away on the leg side. An underarm throw comes in, but they threw for a quick single. Wharton's pretty quick between the wickets there, and they've gone through for, I think that was a leg by. I don't think there was any bat on that one, but a good response this from the bowler, having conceded that early boundary in the over. Lintott has now bowled 5 balls here for 8, so Yorkshire already likely to take somewhere close to 10 as Wharton hammers that one back up the ground. It's going to be 1 bounce. 2, is it going to go for 4? Yes, it is. It's a full toss by Lintott. It's not a great ball to finish the over, you have to say. And Wharton has just kept his shape really nicely there, and just with timing, with a straight back, he's hit that back over the bowler's head up towards the Howard stand for a really well struck boundary. Wharton's on to 29, and this partnership is now worth 59, with the Vikings on 77 for 1 from 7 overs, and they are right in the game, Doigi, at the moment.
Yep, in the mix. That DLS indicator says they should be 66 at the moment, so they're ahead on that front. But last time I mentioned it, they lost a wicket almost immediately afterwards. Sorry, folks, if you're a Yorkshire supporter. Be delighted I've said that if you're a Bears supporter. Still 13 overs to go here. It's It's still a lot of hard yakka for the batters as we get Danny Briggs on from the Kirkstall lane end, and he's just been turned into the leg side by David Malan for 2. The first ball of this 8th over. Again, Briggs had a really good time of things in the Bears win down at Edgbaston, 3 for 26 off his 4 overs that night, and he's coming in here left arm round the wicket, and that's turned into the leg side by Malan. Wharton was hesitant for a moment to go for the single, but they've successfully cruised through for that. So Graham saying 50-odd partnership, 62 now this second wicket is worth, and having got themselves in, Yorkshire and their supporters would love to see them go deep here, the pair of them. Although we've seen more difficult wickets on which to start. Now Wharton's got underneath this one. He's going to be caught at mid-wicket. Yep, there you go. He cannot believe it. He's not found the range. He's easily got the range to clear the boundary there, Graham, but he's just got underneath it too much. And it's just a lob, really, to the fielder, who was Dan Mosley, just a yard or so in from the boundary. And so there you go. The second wicket falls. That changes things on the board. DLS says 75 now, but they are in reality 80 for 2.
Yeah, he's disappointed. He sunk to his knees as soon as he hit that ball, and didn't really time it. And that is a shot to that side of the ground that the Bears had a lot of success with in their innings. Bats, 4s, 6s, shortish boundary. Wharton's aware of that, the length of the boundary. As you say, he's got the range to clear it, no question about that, but just didn't quite time it. And he picked out the fielder as well. So a disappointing end to what's been a great knock from Wharton. He looked like the man in form, timing the ball really well. But what he's done, along with Malan, is given the Vikings a platform. So it's just now a question of whether the likes of George Hill, who's coming in now, Masood still to come, Ferreira, who we've been saying we're still waiting to see a big score from, really. It's whether this platform now can be built on by the remainder of the Vikings batters.
So Malan 36, but 80 for 2, and George Hill has to start here. Fortunately, he's been given a platform by the first 3, or 2 of the first 3, as he just clips that first delivery from Briggs into his pad, and it drops out into the offside, and there is no run. But he's got time on his side. He's got plenty of that for T20 purposes, at least. Over 12 overs remaining. He's just used his feet very nicely, but unfortunately he's whacked it straight to extra cover.
Might be the subfielder.
It is, I think, just looking there. It's the man who's replaced Alex Davies. We'll get an ID on that one as he's down the wicket here again, George, but hits it straight back to the bowler along the deck. That's going to be what turns out to be a very good over, the best of the match so far for the Bears, because they took a wicket, or Danny Briggs did, and kept Yorkshire to 3. Very much their most meagre return so far. It's Robert Yates who's gone out as the substitute fielder for the Bears.
Just trying to look up the substitute fielder, but I've done that without success.
Yeah, Robert Yates, I just said it.
Oh, sorry, mate.
It's good to know that your colleagues are listening to. No, I know you were concentrating on trying to find it.
I was scrolling away. So 80 for 2, but the important thing is that David Malan is still there at the other end. You know, that is such a key wicket in this game, as we've said before. Key for the Vikings, because he's got the capability to potentially win this game, not quite on his own, but can go a long way to doing that. And the Bears know they need him if they're to come away with a win here. Now he faces this latest delivery, pushed away towards extra cover. They've gone through for 1. There's a shy at the stumps. The scoreboard updates. It's Garton, isn't it, now bowling his left arm. His second over from the Howard stand end. 81 for 2. Malan going on to 37 from 30 deliveries. So he's going along really, really nicely. Current run rate 9.92, so they're not too far behind. DLS saying they should be 8-1, and they are exactly that, 8-1, but for the loss of 2 wickets so far. As Garton comes running in again, this time he's come round the wicket. George Hill drives that up towards long on, and again it's a comfortable single. Well, if you can't hit a ball for 4 or 6, then at least get something from it, I think is the key, and that's what they've done there, rotating the strike nicely, these two.
Yeah, Mark Woods says, hi JD, any possibility Johnny Bairstow will play for Yorkshire in the T20 or Championship? As mentioned earlier, Mark, no word on that at the moment.
Here comes Garton again. Malan again steers it through the offside. They'll go through for 1. Ooh, there's a difficult bounce to deal with on the on the east side of the ground there. There's some matting down on one of the practice strips, and it looked as though it had taken an awkward bounce there, but it's fielded, and Malan just goes through for another single.
Yeah, Matthew Revis did a good piece of fielding out there when it also hit that Hessian mat.
Garton's in again, round the wicket now. Owen Hill has hit that ball high into the air. Oh, and it's put down by the keeper. It went really high in the air. It was an awkward chance for Benjamin. He had to go a long way. The ball was coming over his shoulders, the shy at the stumps. It's hit the stumps, but Hill has got back for a second. Now you've got to wonder there really whether Ed Barnard was the man who should have come in and caught that. He was running in towards it, but it was the keeper Benjamin who was running back towards the ball with the ball coming over his shoulder. He reached out with both hands but put it down, so a let off for George Hill. 85 for 2. Garton's in again. Hill using his feet, sliced over the top of point. 4 for George Hill. Well, he's signalled his intentions, George Hill, hasn't he? He's not going to hang around. He's going to use his feet when he can, and he's looking to put the ball away when he can. He's done that. He moves on to 7. Good boundary for George Hill.
Yeah, just he had a bit of length to work with there, didn't he? Just short of length, and he was creating a bit of room by just stepping out a little bit outside leg stump. And yeah, deliberate shot. He sliced it away, uppercut over the top of the infield.
Making Garton think here. Garton's gone for 19 off his 1.5 overs. This is the last ball of the 9th to George Hill, round the wicket again. Hill pushes that down towards point. Hill wants a single, but it's straight to the fielder there, who's saving one just inside the circle behind point. And there's no run on this occasion, so that is the end of the over. So 9 bowled now. Malan on 38, Hill on 7. 89 for 2. It doesn't take much though, does it, just to slip behind the required rate?
No.
But in terms of the DLS score, JD, they're there or thereabouts.
Yeah, again, I still think with scoreboard pressure that, you know, if you had to call it, if somebody was saying where would you want to be at the moment, I still think I'd still prefer to be the fielding side at this stage. But the one thing, if you're looking, well, no, if you're looking for positives for Yorkshire, there's more than one thing, but the main thing is that this is definitely a very good deck if you have Willow in hand. As in comes Briggs, and that's turned square on the leg side by Malan, who will pick up a single. Briggs into his second over, has now conceded just the 4 and taken a wicket from his first 7 deliveries, and this is the issue. They've got to force it now. One thing, George has been crying out for a go in the T20. He's only just recently got into the side. He does use his feet very well. Let's see, Briggs in, and he comes down the pitch to him, and there you go, 4 over extra cover, and he made it into a full toss, did George Hill, and that takes him into double figures. 94 for 2, he's on to 11.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant from George Hill. You've got to say Briggs bowled a brilliant first over, really tight, not giving much away, and it does need something different against the spinners at times, and Hill's done just that.
Tries the reverse this time. He's going to get 4 more here. Super short. In fact, nearly off, just shy of going all the way. Bounced just inside the rope down there at what was originally third man. Got underneath it and executed that very well.
Great shot, George Hill again. We saw James Wharton play a similar shot when he was at the crease, and of course it was played at the other end to the short boundary and it went for 6. Hill not quite fortunate enough there.
Here's Briggs again. Hill always bowled him. He's tried to pull this one across the line and missed it. And he's just missed a straight one really, and it's clattered into, well, all 3 are splayed all over the place. Middle stump though, I think was the key stump that was knocked back. 98 for 3 then. George Hill gone for definitely an interesting and exhilarating. 15 off 10 deliveries, including 3 fours.
Well, it feels as though the Viking strategy here is all about batting around David Malan. Malan just continues to play his game. He's going really well so far, 39 off 32. So if he continues to play like that, stays at the crease, bats for 15 or 16 overs, and the batters at the other end are looking to me as if they're going to try and just force the pace at the other end and allow Malan just to play his game and just keep nudging it around at the other end. So, well, there's been some discussion tonight about Donovan Ferreira, hasn't there, and how he hasn't quite set things alight so far since he joined the Vikings. Well, now's his chance to make a real big name for himself.
Yep, this would be the time to shine, wouldn't it? Because he has, we keep remarking on how hard he hits the ball. One or two of the players have said to me that they've never seen a player hit the ball as hard as Donovan Ferreira does. But it's how many, isn't it? And you're looking at scores of 15, 13, 22, 9 and 21 from his last 5 matches in the competition, for example, which is not really tearing up any trees, is it? And so thereafter a sizable contribution from him. He's got half the innings to go here to do that, and he's punched one into the offside second ball, having played out a dot first ball. So Danny Briggs again causing Yorkshire problems. He gets them to the halfway stage with the Vikings on 98 for 3, which is absolutely exactly the same as the Bears were at the same stage.
That's extraordinary. Great over from Briggs again. He's a really experienced, wily campaigner, Briggs, 33 now. International cricketer, of course, in the early part of his career. He looked like the next big thing, actually, for a while on the international scene, Danny Briggs. And showing his class there, a couple of great overs from him. But as you say, the score's identical at this stage after the 10 overs. Then another over from Lintott, and that's a wide outside the off stump. He's having an eventful time, Jake Lintott.
Yeah, it's a skillful leave, if you like, by David Malan.
Well left, sir. Malan waits again. Lintott comes in, pushed out towards mid-wicket. Well, no suggestion that they might go through for a second. It's nudged out there like they often do, taking the pace off the shot, sometimes giving themselves a chance or two, but the boundary's just too short to play that sort of cat and mouse game on that side of the ground tonight, you feel.
Yeah, let's see what Ferreira's got to offer here. They've got to their 100 one ball fewer than the Bears did.
Here's Lintott again, watchful. Ferreira pushes it back up the pitch. Talked all night about the importance of the spinners. Yorkshire, you feel, because of the injury to Chauhan, were a spinner light, and we've now got the Warwickshire spinners bowling in tandem. Outside the off stump, there's a swing there from Ferreira outside that off stump, doesn't make any contact, well pitched up, fairly wide-ish, gone straight through to the keeper though, no run.
Remember that 150 balls or so in the twos earlier this week at Barnsley, apparently.
Now's the time to see something similar. Half that would be good enough. This is a bit short, and it's with a cross bat. It's hammered up towards long on, not conventional. Lintott thrust an arm out. It wasn't far away, but it's out the middle of the bat, and it's safe. They go through for one more.
Yeah, chewed up, what, 3 deliveries there?
Yeah, good start to the over this, isn't it? 1.4 overs, no wicket for 15, Lintott, with his wrist spin. That's turned into the mid-wicket area again by David Malan, looking completely unruffled and becalmed and cool and comfortable in the middle. He's on to 41 from 34 balls. Whenever he stays there, the Vikings are in with a shout, no doubt about that. Lintott coming in to complete this 11th over then from the Bears. That's shortish, it's really well pulled away by Ferreira. Gets onto that quickly, up towards long on again. And they go through for another one. So that is the end of the 11th over then, and the Vikings are 103 for 3. So the fall of the wickets, Wharton and Hill, and the spinners bowling from both ends, there's a suggestion that there's a bit of a break being put on the Viking scoring here at the moment.
Yeah, so pound for pound, if you like, over for over. After 11, then Birmingham were 108 for 3, so it's only one blow, or potentially one blow, 5 runs. But just slightly behind it, there is one blow, and a big blow as well. Ferreira has come to the party with 6 over long on, and that might have reached the balcony here at the pavilion end of the ground. It's Briggs who's continuing and into his 3rd over now, and that's not a great way into it for him, and just puts the pressure on him at the start of the over.
Oh, he's used his feet really well, and he's hit the ball straight. It was a delightful shot, really, right out of the textbook. And you were saying that the lads have been saying he can hit a ball, he can hit it hard. He's just showing exactly that there.
Here's Briggs then. What can he counter with? Well, it's a full toss, but he's punched it down the ground. Bethel does the fielding, and they get a single. So they call that good batting, 6-1. You often hear that a ripple of applause at championship games when you can hear the lads on the balcony. Of course you can't when there are more people in the ground as there are tonight. Good atmosphere here at Headingley, where the floodlights are firmly in control, as is Malan with this shot over long on for 6 more. Stepped into it, David Malan, and where you felt the power of Ferreira just a couple of balls ago, once again he just glides that ball effortlessly, doesn't he, David Malan? Just look how he picked it up. Beautiful shot.
The real subtle difference between the two and how they play, isn't there? Yeah, it's an absolutely exquisite strike from Malan.
And he too does the same as Ferreira and works a single the following ball, this time to Craig Miles, who watched the previous delivery soar over his head. So 14 off the over so far. Now you're saying get out of the over without losing a wicket, as far as the batting side go, and of course the Bears would love a wicket, and Briggs has 2 of those to his name already in this match, but he's going to concede another run here, punched straight by Ferreira, and Miles in to do the fielding once again. Right hand, left hand combi may just be causing a little bit of an issue for Briggs in this over. He's now gone for 27, and he's got 1 ball left of his 3rd. 118 for 3. They're bang on the DLS scoreboard par, as Malan punches that one up to long on again, and Miles does the fielding. So good over as far as the Vikings are concerned, because they got 16 runs from it. They're 119 for 3 after 12 compared to 111 for 4 the Bears.
Yeah, Briggs arguably has been the Bears' best bowler, but that has made just a little bit of a mess of his figures. 3 overs, 2 for 28. Really delicately poised game, and you sense that the crowd are feeling that as well.
That was the biggest over of the innings so far, 16. So they've not gone into the 20s yet, but bear in mind they have plenty of overs that have gone into double figures. But then the Bears just keep themselves going, don't they, with those odd overs that are going for 5 and 6 and 3. And so it's a great contest, this.
That's brilliant, and just to point out as well that there's still Shan Masood still in the pavilion, still to come in as well.
Yep, Jordan Thompson, Matthew Revis, Don Bess, can all bat.
Batting to come. Mosley comes in to Malan, steers that away through extra cover. He just trots down the other end, but that brings up his half century. David Malan, well, it's been a joy to watch, as it so often is. He's delightful on the eye, isn't he, David Malan? 50 for him off 38 balls, 6 fours and a 6. So playing just the perfect role. Now it's Ferreira on strike. Great shot down the ground by Ferreira. It's only going to be 1, but it's really well played. He goes hard at it, but it's out of the meat of the bat, and it's all the way along the ground, and they pick up another single. Ferreira already on to 11 then from 10 deliveries. 121 for 3 in the 13th over. Mosley bowling that right arm off spin around the wicket. That's a wide ball, and it could go through for 4. My goodness, it will. 4 wides. What a bonus that is for the Vikings. He bowled it quick. It came out of the hand really quick, and the substitute keeper Benjamin just wasn't quick enough to get the hands across to that one, and it races away for a bonus boundary off the wide.
Yeah, they'll take them all, won't they, at this stage? They still need just under 12 and over off a sustained period, such as, well, the better part of 8 overs here, so any freebies they can get.
Absolutely, that's well pitched up. Now they've gone through for one. Milan's pushed that up towards long on. Ooh, they sensibly probably decided there was only one in the end. He raced away, Malan, thinking there might be two, but wasn't to be. That's what you need, isn't it, Doige? Cool head, Ferreira doing well, recognising that it wasn't on and saying no to Malan. Not an easy thing to do. Oh, great shot through extra cover by Ferreira. Has he timed it well enough to go to the boundary? Yes, he has. It was no more than a push, really, you have to say. But it's through extra cover, and a delightful shot by Ferreira. 131 for 3 now in the 13th over.
Yeah, he struck it actually. He timed it really well, and with that extra bit of power that he shows, a bit of muscle involved. If you were fielding against Donovan Ferreira for a while, I would think your hands would be fairly warm come the end of the evening, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, I would. This is outside, off stump. It's driven, just squirts out onto the offside, and didn't quite get hold of that one. Bit of a thickish edge.
So he's got himself a start here. He's 15 off 12 at the moment, Graham. Can he now go on and make a proper contribution to this side?
Ooh, now then, some cat and mouse going on in the middle. Don't think Ferreira was ready there. Mosley started his run up, and Ferreira's just backed away, quite rightly so. Rushing Ferreira, Mosley. That's a clip towards fine leg. The fielder's in there saving one, so there's no addition to the score. So Mosley's completed his 3rd over. 3 overs, no wickets for 29. 13 overs have been bowled, and the Vikings are 131 for the loss of 3 wickets. And well, you have to say there is that scoreboard pressure element, but at the moment the Vikings are doing really nicely, and they're right in the game.
Yep, so by comparison, 131 for 3 compares to 115 for 4, the Bears, so clearly in a better position right at this moment. But again, don't forget there was that 25 over that came up, and then later on in the piece as well, overs for 17, 12 and 13 off the last 3, so they came home very strongly, did the Birmingham Bears. And when you're under pressure with the bat, then that's not always as easy to do. But spin, well, it's taken wickets for them tonight. 2 in the form of Danny Briggs, 1 for Zach Folkes, and they're going back to seam here with Craig Miles for over number 14 from this Kirkstall Lane end, and that first delivery is just outside off stump, and Malan works it back at a point and will pick up a single. Miles bowled 1 over for 12 first up, so we'll see how it goes with seam this time. But I would imagine, I think it's pretty obvious really that pace on the ball, all batters seem like they prefer that tonight.
Oh, without a doubt, the Bears were tough and hard and brutal at times on the Vikings seamers, weren't they? Can this Vikings pair do the same here?
Miles over the wicket, Ferreira opens the face, runs it out towards wide 3rd man and picks up another 1. If they can keep themselves just in with a hunt, and then they don't have to have a massive over, but you know, a pretty big one. If they can get to a 20, something like that, just to ease the pressure on themselves. But if they can keep chipping it around and picking up those boundaries off some of the deliveries, they'll keep themselves in the hunt. Miles is round the wicket this time to Malan, who's turned into the leg side. They should get back for 2 here. No, Ferreira says no, and that's interesting because it felt like there was a 2 on, but he wasn't confident he was going to get back. Maybe just in the back of his mind his disastrous run out at Chester Street a couple of weeks ago against Durham, when he played when he mistimed a shot towards Cow Corner, was dropped, came back for the 2nd and was run out. Full toss this time, and it turns out it was a good decision to stay put because he smashed that away over extra cover for 6.
What a shot, what a terrific shot, right out the middle, full toss, and there was absolutely no doubt in Ferreira's mind where that one was going. Full toss, and smashes it over extra cover for 6. What a delightful shot that was. and 140 for 3. Yorkshire might need that big over. They might need somebody to get close to 100. Malan's going really well on 53. He could be that man.
Ferreira on 22. Full toss. He's got it away. Pass short. Fine leg for 4. Another not well executed delivery by Miles, and this is it with the seam tonight. The margins for error are so tiny, and he's suffering in this over. So 25 off 11 balls from Miles so far. It's not as costly as some we've seen in the match, but it's beginning to get a bit that way, and certainly he's coming in at this moment in time at above the required rate, so that's just going to do its own little bit to hurt the Bears, but he's still got a ball left in this over to do something positive for them. How will he respond? 26 now to Ferreira, the partnership worth 46. Miles in, final ball of the over. Ferreira powers it really along the deck up to long on where Mosley fields and picks up 1 run. So Miles finishes with that over with 2 overs for 26, so 145 for 3. They need 70 off 6 overs, which still feels like a fair ask.
It feels like a big ask, doesn't it? But this feels like a real classic game of T20 cricket, and you know, this is what the T20 format was introduced for all those years ago. A warmish summer evening, a good pitch, lots of runs, and what we might see here potentially is one of those classic run chasers. We will see.
What we need to think about here is 145 for 3. 2 players going well. You lose one of these wickets, that's going to be somebody else who's got to start. You lose both of these quickly, and that's a massive pressure on the closing stages of the innings for the batters to come. So the Bears will be all too acutely aware of that. If they can pick up a wicket here, things change quite a bit.
Here's Lintott again, starting his 3rd over. Then a bit of flight. Ferreira's hit that half volley, smashed it up towards the Howard stand. Has it made the 2nd tier? Not quite, but he's just waited. It was well flighted. He just stayed in his crease. It was half volley length in the end, and he's just smashed it straight back over his head for 6.
Yeah,
simple as that, Doidgy.
And he's into the 30s for the first time in his first team matches since arriving at the club.
Well, we're starting to see what he's all about, it feels, at the moment. Let's not speak too soon, but he's going really well. Here comes Lintott, a bit flatter this time, and that strikes Ferreira on the pad, and it's fielded by the wicketkeeper Benjamin, and there's no addition to the score this time, so a dot ball.
33 off 19 so far.
It's good effort, really good effort, and Malan continues at the other end. As Lintott's in again, Ferreira pulls that up towards long on, as he's done more than once tonight. Now Malan's going back for the 2nd. He has to be quick here, and he is quick. And as we so often say, it's all about running that first one quick, and Malan did there. And he's a little bit tucked up there, Ferreira, isn't he? But he's done well to get that up to long on from the position he was in. It was a decent ball, and he's got that wide of the long on fielder, and they've got through for 2.
Yeah, this pair 55 in 31 deliveries between them.
Ferreira waits for the left armour again then. Much flatter again, driven up towards long. He's hit that hard out of the middle. There won't be 2 this time because he's hit that ball so well. That's the difference, and the throw comes in to the wicketkeeper Benjamin, and they go through for just a single. 2 balls remaining in the over. At the moment, the Vikings doing pretty well against the spinners, you have to say.
Yeah, Milan's barely seen a ball since he got to his 50.
That's a
3, I think he's seen.
That's a good point. He's facing now though, and he tries to play that through mid-wicket, and he misses. Now how has that not hit the stumps?
It was close.
Goodness me. There was a gasp of air in the ground and in the commentary box there, but he missed it, and it must have missed the off stump by not much at all. Here's Lintott again then. Malan does get bat on that as he pulls it behind square away for a single on the leg side, picks out the fielder just behind square, and they go through for a single. Malan will retain the strike for the start of the next over, and this Vikings run chase goes on this partnership goes on. 155 for 3.
Yeah, it's relatively even, if you like, compared to what the Bears produced because of those 2 heavily weighted overs, but they're still doing it in their own way. And when I tell you that Yorkshire got to their 150 in 14.1, the Bears were 16.1, 2 full overs in hand at that stage, then it tells you that they're on course here, but still 60 off 5. I make that 12 and over, and that could be out. Yep, it is caught by Bethel, and it's the end of David Malan. Jacob Bethel out there running around the boundary at Cow Corner, and how much could that change things now? Shan Masood will walk out at number 6 for Yorkshire, but that's a fine knock from David Malan. Top draw player, 54 in just over an hour of batting from 44 deliveries, a 6 and 6 fours, and he's given his side a real good chance, but he's just got out at a vital stage.
Yeah, in terms of the timing of the wicket, it's not great, but he has helped to build that platform to give the Vikings a chance, and it's not great timing in terms of the fall of the wicket, and in terms of the quality of the batsman, it's not the one maybe that you'd want to see go, but Ferreira, he's going well. He's got his eye in. He's travelling really well at the moment. He's on 36 off 21, and we've got the experience of Masood, another left-hander, to maintain that left-right combination in the middle. Masood, as we saw against Lancashire, scored a brilliant 61 that night, the last T20 game here at Headingley. Can he do the same tonight?
155 for 4. Briggs has struck for a second match in succession 3 times against Yorkshire. He's a good bowler, Danny Briggs, and Masood turns that one square, backward of square on the leg side, first up for a single. So he's got to get going here, and you wouldn't say that scoring quick runs would ideally be Shan Masood's game. He'd want to see more time out there in the middle to get himself going, but he has surprised us on a couple of occasions this season. That's pinged away by Ferreira. That has been hit really hard. He's hammered that one away through extra cover, and 4 more to him, so he's now got to take things on and be the finisher here. 160 now for 4. The Yorkshire Vikings, they need 55 from 4.3, and Briggs, 3 balls left in his spell, and having hit hammered that away, he's just played a lovely forward defensive push back to the bowler. Go figure.
Well, there's almost a case for 2 dot balls or a single and a dot. Just don't give him much Briggs here.
He's hauled this one away, bottom hand, eyes lit up, and he's dragged it up to long on for 1, which will give Masood the strike back, but they need 50 odd off 4 overs and a ball. Again, by whatever standard you play and whatever format it is, that is not an easy chase. And the Bears have the scoreboard on their side. Here is Briggs again, and that's been hit down the ground, 1 bounce, and then to the hands of Miles for Masood to pick up a second single. So 162 for 4 off 16, a wicket, and just the 7 runs off the over this time, and just at the right time the Bears find an over of fewer than 10 runs. So 13.25 an over needed by Yorkshire. They haven't yet had one of those massive overs that the Bears had. They're still well in the hunt here, but they now have to show us that they can close this match out.
That's the end of Briggs, isn't it? That's his set of 4 overs
super
completed.
effort from him as well.
Yeah, it really was. But he's out the attack now. Lintop has bowled 3, so he's going to bowl out from the Howard stand end. He's bowled 3 overs for 27, so reasonably miserly in the scheme of things in this game. High-scoring game, and another really important phase of the game. Masood's on strike then. Left arm over to the left-hander, driven up towards long on. Oh my goodness, it's a misfield, you have to say, at long on. It's been really poorly judged by the Bears fielder up there. Difficult to see who it is in the fading light, but it bounced just in front of him in the end, and he seemed to get caught in 2 minds, didn't he? Came in to try and maybe ensure that he didn't give 2 away, but in doing so he's given the Vikings 4. Not great fielding, well struck by Masood. He's not arguing, is he? 4 more to him. That's a reverse. Oh, and that's away for 4 as well from Masood. That's brilliantly played. The reverse sweep. Well, he's not hanging around Shan Masood tonight. 2 balls to start the over, and Masood races on to 10, 170 for 4.
Yeah, very well executed. He just had to get, it's clearly not easy to get the requisite power when you're playing a reverse. He just had to try and sneak it over the top of the 2 fielders who were up behind square inside the circle, and just about managed to do it.
What a game this is turning out to be. Lintott comes in again, done the hard work, got 2 boundaries. Tries to just steer that one away into that. There's a huge vacant area on the leg side that he's trying to find there, but didn't quite get hold of it. I think he just played it onto his pad, and it's fielded by Lintott, the bowler. 3 balls remaining of this over. 45 runs needed, 16.3 overs having been bowled. Masood on 10 as he waits. He pulls that one away. There's going to be 1 bounce to the fielder in front of the Western Terrace, and they go through for 1 more.
So the way it's worked out here, Birmingham, as you'd expect, they've kind of thrust their spin bowlers to the fore. This is the final over for Lintott. Mosley's only got the 1 left. Yeah, it's been pointed out Jacob Bethel could bowl. Who's going to throw him in now, I say? So they're going to have to finish off with 3 overs of seam here, and we've talked about how much easier it's felt to score off seam bowling.
Here's Ferreira, pulls him over mid-wicket. Oh my goodness, he's cleared the ropes by a good 15 yards onto the eastern side of the ground. Quality shot, really well picked up, middle of the bat. He knows the fielder's on the edge, but he's got the confidence to beat him. Yeah, terrific shot.
Front leg out of the way in that modern way of doing things. Keep your eye on the ball and then just give it as much oomph as you can, and he did just that.
Boundary, long boundary as well. Here's Lintott again. Oh, he's away again for another massive 6. Oh my goodness, that's a terrific shot. That's right out of the middle. That's onto the back row of the bottom tier from Ferreira.
And that is 50. And that is what he's been brought in to do. And he's finally done it, Donovan Ferreira. We've been saying how well he strikes a ball, but he's just not been doing it for long enough. Well, you can't criticise him for that tonight. And he's come up with 53 in just 26 minutes and 26 balls at the crease. That was his 5th 6, and he's hit 3 4s to boot. Outstanding stuff, and he's given his team more than just a sniff at the moment. But again, should he go the next ball, something like that, then it changes things again. So no chickens at all being counted, but that was a hugely productive over, the best over for Yorkshire in this match so far. 21, the first time they've gone above 20, and just at the right time.
That was the big over we've been talking about, wasn't it?
32 needed off 18, and he's got this one away to short, fine leg with a reverse, well, lob really, as much as anything. Shan Masood, I'm not sure you could call it much else, but the main thing is he's got Ferreira on strike, and he's the man who is flying here. They've put on 29, and they've only been together precisely 2 overs. So that is a great pedal to the metal moment or two for the Vikings at this stage. 184 for 4, 31 needed from 17. Ferreira on 53 on strike. By the way, it's Folkes bowling. Don't think we mentioned that with so much going on from this Kirkstall Lane end. And he's bowled him one wide and full toss in fact, and Ferreira hammers his pad in disgust because he missed it, and it's one of those really where he could have picked his spot, certainly got something on it and picked up a run. So every dot for the Bears, absolutely invaluable. Folkes then, 1 for 26 for him in from the Kirkstall Lane end. It's up there, smashed down the ground, 6 more for Donovan Ferreira over long on. Goodness me, he's looked very, very, very impressive this evening, and he's now eclipsed David Malan as Yorkshire's highest scorer in the match. 190 for 4, 25 needed off 15.
Crowd absolutely loving it now, as you can imagine. Great scenes around the ground here at Headingley, and it didn't worry him that Mosley's right back on the edge at long on. Happy, comfortable and confident to clear him.
He's gone again, big this time over Cow Corner, and that's halfway back the Western Terrace. 6 more. Talk about how difficult it was going to be bowling seam. We've said it time and again during the match, Graham, and here it proved to be the case in this Folkes over. He's getting some consolatory taps on the hand from one or two of his teammates, but now he must be feeling massive pressure out there. But before you go away and start to look at the league table and count the points, let me remind you, Yorkshire had a game in the bag against Durham at Chesterley Street the last time they played in this competition just 2 weeks ago. They've got to see it through. They need 19 off 14. And Donovan Ferreira, 65 runs against his name from just 29 balls. He's facing Folkes here, who's gone Yorker, and it's a good one because Ferreira can do no more than dig it out back to the bowler.
He's done all the hard work, Ferreira, really, in this over, hasn't he? Struck the ball so well, and dare I say, they can almost afford a dot ball, the Vikings. Things are going so well at the moment.
Steady.
19 to win.
Steady on, old boy. Folkes in, and it's full leg stump and turned into the leg side by Ferreira and fielded by the incoming cow corner, Jake Lintott, and they pick up 1 run. So another productive over for the Vikings. 14 runs from it. 197 for 4 at the end of 18 compares to 189 for 5 at the same stage. The Bears, they're ahead of the game, but they have to finish it.
Yeah, they have to finish it from here. Sweet Caroline rings out around Headingley. Well, I didn't think it could get much better than beating Lancashire here a few weeks ago, but if they manage to pull this off the Vikings, it will eclipse it, I think, in all honesty. Chasing down 214 would be quite something, and it's the Bears now who are having to find answers to an awful lot of questions. Ferreira is on 66, he's the man on strike as well, and the Vikings need 18 off just 12 deliveries. All the groundwork, the hard work, all the difficult work has been done, and as Davies quite rightly says, they have to finish it from here. Remember, these boys, these Birmingham boys, are no mugs. They're top of the table. Played 8-1-6 before tonight, but if the Vikings can pull this one off, then they'll be right in touch with the teams near the top of this this North group in this Vitality Blast T20 competition. So they return to spin then. Mosley, who's bowled well so far with his off spin.
6,331 in tonight.
That's significantly more than the original expectation, I think, isn't it? And they'll all be pleased that they've paid their money and come along tonight. Now Ferreira's hammered that up towards long off. He's in trouble here, Ferreira. It's a great catch. About 10 yards in.
And there you go. Ferreira goes. There's 11 balls remaining, and somebody, that somebody being the man that makes things happen, has got to now and try and see this through. 18 off 11. That is a magnificent knock by Donovan Ferreira, who has shown us what his capabilities are tonight. 66 from just 32 deliveries, 7 sixes and 3 fours, but his demise means that there is still quite a bit of work to do for Yorkshire. He was striking that ball so well. He looks up at the heavens in despair, having lost his wicket, but it's hard to be too critical when he's done what he's done.
Yeah, he's taken the Vikings to the brink, but sadly he's fallen over just when they were about to potentially execute a famous victory. And now, as we all know, a run chase with the pressure on is never a straightforward thing, and with spin back into the attack, Jordan Thompson facing, the Vikings have to force it again because no pace on the ball. Masood at the other end, not out 12, so 2 relatively new batsmen at the crease. First ball of the over, Ferreira gone, and now Jordan Thompson. He loves these pressure situations, Jordan Thompson. Drives it up towards long on. Well, that is decent, that's pretty good. He's got something off that delivery. They don't want to leave themselves needing too many off the last over. They need 17 still then. 1.4 overs remaining. A boundary here would be really handy for Shan Masood. the Bears just trying to orchestrate one or two fielding changes for the left-hander. 3 in the circle on the off, 1 on the leg side in the circle. Round the wicket, the off-spinner Masood, he's driven it down the ground. As he got hold of it, he's not quite timed it. It's fielded one-handed and pushed back inside the rope. They've come back for 2 though. Masood is home. Now then, Masood's asking the umpire whether there was a foot over the boundary, I think, at the far end. He's asking the umpire to have a look at this. And what's the umpire saying? Is he saying there's no facility to look at that? I'm not sure.
Well, there's no official third umpire. It's not a televised game, although obviously there is Yorkshire Stream.
His foot's over the line, isn't it?
His foot's over the line. So
Masood's not happy. He's really not happy. Because, the fielder, you could argue that the fielder must have known he was foot over. And if he didn't, then the other fielder next to him should have done.
Is his foot... Oh, yeah. I think his foot touches down just... I was going to say, are both feet off the ground at the point of contact, but I think he did put his foot down just before he's got a contact on it. And so, desperately needing boundaries, of course, every single ball, and they're going past pretty quickly here because Mosley does get through his overs quickly. He's just ramping it up for Yorkshire, and again, you've got that horrible feeling here. 14 off 8, with Ferreira gone when he did. But Jordan Thompson, he's well capable of changing all that. Can he hold it together?
2 left-handers at the crease. Thompson will get something on that, pushes that up towards long off. They've gone through for 1. Masood's gone through quickly for the first, but decides the second is not on. And I think he's right. They can't afford a run out at this stage.
Yeah, when the pace of the ball came back in, I think Jordan Thompson would have been a couple of yards short there.
Yeah. And the accuracy on the throw as well. So 13 they need to win. 1 ball remaining of this over. So Mosley's bowled a good penultimate over now. He wants a chat here with... I think Dan Briggs is coming across for a word with him. He's come up from fine leg in the circle.
Boundary here, he's come up from a long way, hasn't he? Boundary here would be big play if they can get one. But I think the main thing is that the Vikings do not lose a wicket from this delivery and have to have somebody else coming in last over to start here.
Agreed. Here's Thompson then. He's driven that through extra cover. Now that's probably where he needed to hit it. He's found a fielder though. There's some good work at long off, and they've gone through for 2. So well done, Jordan Thompson. Early in his innings here, picked up 2, but that is the end of the 19th. 204 for 5, and the Vikings need 11.
Yeah, Masood actually with that final shot. So he's on to 17. So 204 for 5, as you say, and. Well, it's just nip and tuck all the way through. It's been a great game of cricket, whichever way it ends up going here. Yorkshire ticked off the 200 just a couple of balls sooner than Birmingham had in their innings, but the pressure is on. When you need to score, when you're setting, you don't know how many you need off the last over. When you're chasing, you do, and you have that pressure that the opposition has on their side. But who wants to bowl this final over? George Garton looks like the man who's been nominated for what will be his 3rd and the final over of the match. And he's coming on with Yorkshire putting up some advertising on the board instead of showing us the score, having got to 204 for the loss of 5 wickets. Garton left arm over to Thompson, who tries to swing it around to the leg side. They've got 1. They're going to come back for a second here. Off the pads, I think it was. And they've got back for a 2. Looked for a moment like they might be on for a 3 there until somebody backed that up. So, well, OK, not a perfect start. 9 off 5.
Well, Garton's shaking his head and asking the umpire about the LBW decision. The bowler's not happy that wasn't given. Looked to be going down the leg side, I thought, to be honest.
I thought so as well. So 9 off 5, what a match. Jordan Thompson on 2. Can he connect with 1? I'm sure he'd much rather have seam than spin here in this final over. He's got that open stance, he bends at the knee, in comes Garton. Oh, he's missed it. He's missed the delivery, wide of off stump. He's got all that, he's got acres of space out through the offside. There's only 1 man back there, and it was wide of off stump as well. And he was almost too soon on it, not quite sure. couldn't easily discern from this distance up on the 4th floor whether George Garton has slightly held that back, and well done to him if he did. So 9 off 4 now the equation. In comes Garton again. Full. Oh, no, he can't get it away again. Jordan Thompson straight back to the bowler. Huge pressure on Yorkshire once again here.
It's well bowled, isn't it, Doige? You know, it's in terms of line and length and direction, it's right up there in a position that makes it really difficult for Jordan Thompson to get that ball away. So he's bowled a good last over so far.
Yep. Garton 2.3 overs, none for 19. These next 3 balls are what counts though. 9 needed by Yorkshire. Jordan Thompson's tried to get this one away. He's got it away through the leg side. There's a fumble. Yep. They're going to get back for 2, but he needed a boundary surely there, and he just couldn't quite get it straight enough. Jacob Bethel it was who did the fielding, so 7 off 2.
Jordan's the man for the moment, you'd argue, isn't it? You know, I'm just wondering there, of the 2 batsmen out in the middle, Masood or Thompson, who would you want on strike at this stage? And I'm thinking, well, Jordan is the man for these sort of occasions.
Yeah, and it's very, very easy to talk from here. You've kind of got to watch this ball now, whatever it is. Got to get something on this. 7 needed off 2. Garton in, short. Oh, again. He's not able to get it away, and they need 6 to win off the last ball. And Jordan Thompson, well, he'd have backed himself every single day of the week. He always does. But he's not been able to do it in this final over when the pressure's on. And I keep harping back to wanting those runs on the board. Earlier on,
it's tough on
Ferreira got out when he did, not blaming him. But we did say if he goes, that pressure will be ramped up. They could still do it here.
Tough on the Vikings in a way, isn't it, that there's 2 left-handers at the crease and they're hitting to the long boundary as well.
Been a magnificent game of cricket. Who's going to win it? Here's Garton. Down the ground goes Masood. He's short of Yorkshire. And Yorkshire are short of runs and have lost this game again, a match they'd put themselves in a position to win, and they have come up short by 4 runs. Once again, can you believe it? Birmingham congratulate themselves, as rightly they should. They have put up a tremendous performance here themselves, 214 for 7, and have kept Yorkshire to 210 for 5. They deserve to be at the top of the table with performances like that. They've held their nerve when things got very tricky for them late on. And you do feel for the David Malans and the Donovan Ferreiras of this world, because they've given everything with the bat there for Yorkshire, but they just came up short once again.
Yeah, it's another evening of what might have been for the Vikings, isn't it? Maybe just 2 or 3 more balls of Ferreira, maybe just another over of Malan. Could have been the difference between winning and losing, but you know, the great winner tonight is the game of cricket. What a game it's been, and you can see what it means to the Bears. Absolutely thrilled with that. 214 for 7, you could argue, always looked like a winning score, but when Ferreira was still going, the Vikings were within touching distance and almost looking like favourites to do it at that stage. But you always know, Doige, you always know that if a wicket falls, then that makes it really, really difficult for the new batsman coming in at such a late stage, when there's no time really to have a look and just push the ball around for 1s and 2s and give yourself a chance to get your eye in. It's been an evening of what might have been, and now it makes life in terms of qualification for the Vikings just that little bit more difficult. But what a night it's been.
Yeah, it makes it really difficult when you feel the spectre of Chesterfield looming for Sunday afternoon, because they've lost 6 off the reel. I guess you could argue that, well, they're closer to their next win. Otis Gibson has just seen the lads off the field down there. I think he'd find it hard to be too critical of the lads tonight. I think he'll just be disappointed that they again haven't managed to take an opportunity that they'd set themselves up for, and that's the key in the last 2 defeats. They've lost 2 matches now by next to nothing, and you look at that league table, they could have been up there on 12 points, just behind the Birmingham Bears, and they're on 8 from 9 now, and with 5 games remaining, and they're going to need to win what we reckon three out of those 5. It's feeling like a pretty steep task now.
It is, because they've lost at home, which Headingley has been a venue in T20 cricket this season where they've done really, really well. They've won 3 out of 4 here before tonight, and on the road it's the opposite, as we mentioned previously. They've lost 3 out of 4 on the road, so it's made it a really, really tough ask, that is for sure. But for the 6,300 people that have been here tonight, they've been royally entertained with some fantastic cricket. Obviously the Vikings lost Adam Lyth early on, which was a blow. James Wharton was going well with 29 off 12. He was going really well. Then he got out. George Hill came in and played some good shots, 15 off 10, then he got out. But I just feel as if Malan could have batted maybe for another over, Ferreira for another 3 or 4 balls, as I mentioned then. That could have well just about done it. But it's not to be. And Otis Gibson, he's just stood out there on the outfield at the moment, just looking up at the stand as if to say, well, we've put up a great show. I'm sure there's a feeling of pride in his heart tonight in terms of the effort. It's been a great T20 game, played on a great pitch, but sadly the Vikings have come out on the wrong end of it.
Yep, Shamasu for the record, not out 18 off 11. Jordan Thompson, unusually for him, a strike rate of below 100, 5 off the 7 deliveries that he faced. And congratulations to the Birmingham bowlers. George Garton, 3 overs for 23. Zach Folkes, 3 overs, 1 for 39. Dan Mosley, 4 overs, 1 for 36. Craig Miles, 2 overs for 26. Jake Lintott was the most expensive, 4 overs for 48. But Danny Briggs, 3 for 35 from his 4 overs, does some damage again, and ultimately they conceded 17 extras compared to the 6 that Yorkshire conceded as well, so they were heavier on that front. They managed to find a way to win, and very good sides do that, and you can comfortably see them qualifying from this North group. We know the South group's usually the stronger of the two, so whether they go on and maybe win it on their own ground on finals day, they've only won it the once before, which is one more time than Yorkshire have. We shall see. But we're done here for tonight, Graham. Many thanks for your input once again. I think you're back. Are you for another one? No, you're not back in the rest of the series. I can't remember all these bookings now. But anyway, great job tonight. Unfortunately, Yorkshire came up short by 4 runs. Graham Collier, myself, Jonathan Doidge. It's been a pleasure to bring you this match. I will be, along with Kevin Sharp, at Chesterfield on Sunday. For BBC Radio Leeds listeners, we will not be on the Derbyshire stream because that will be a separate broadcast, so please do make a note now. If you're planning on listening to the Yorkshire version of the broadcast, you're going to need to find us on the BBC Sport website and app and either listen to it audio only or do your own syncing as usual. But I will be there for the start of play and seeing if Yorkshire can arrest the Chesterfield slump and just give themselves a fighting chance of making the quarter-finals. But from Headingley, from the pair of us this evening, it's good night.